Good evening. We're going to call this meeting to order at 6:30. We will start with an invocation tonight led by Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
All right, please stand and join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this evening, Lord. Thank you that we get to come together as a community. Pretty amazing night, Lord. Everything that has taken place just over the time of starting our fire department, Lord, and just be with the men and women that are going to make this happen, and be with the staff, Lord, and let us continue to honor you in all that we do, Lord, and thank you for all the blessings that you continue to give us. And in your name, amen.
Amen. Chief Latendress, will you lead us in the flag salute tonight?
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Dane.
Here.
Councilmember Green.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Welty.
Here.
Mayor Castillo.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, anything to report out of closed session?
Madam Mayor, we have no items to report out of closed session today.
Okay, thanks so much. Mr. City Manager, any changes to our agenda this evening?
No changes.
We need a motion and a second to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Councilmember Dane.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Welty.
Aye.
Mayor Castillo.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. It's on. Okay, so for our first ceremonial endeavor this evening, I am very, very honored to present to you our Citizen of the Month for December, Dr. Jeanette Vanderpool. Good evening. Okay, I want to read from this Canyon Lake Insider article because it was a great article. Thank you, Donna. Canyon Lake resident Dr. Jeanette Vanderpool was crowned Mrs. Women of Achievement for the United States. She competed against 42 delegates at the Women of Achievement pageant in Scottsdale, Arizona. She received the highest scores in overall platform, speech, and interview categories. Her platform is career path development for domestic violence survivors and victims. She is the national spokesperson for the Mariposa Women's Counseling Center, and she advocates for children with disabilities and creating more community-based sporting opportunities. I love that. She is a special education administrator for the Lake Elsinore Unified School District. She resides in Canyon Lake with her husband, Matt, and children Jake, Bella, Bridget, and Brennan. We are really proud of you, and the reason you were selected is it's such an honor to have such an amazing spokesperson who resides in Canyon Lake. You do so much to bring regional and national attention to this important cause. We're very, very proud of you, and for that reason we wanted to honor you. Would you mind saying a few words? Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, I was crowned your Mrs. US 2022, and thank you. I didn't wear the crown because it actually hurts the longer I keep it on, but if there's any little girls here and grown women and men, and I see all you firemen and sheriff, if anybody wants to try it on, feel free to do so. But I love our community. I love living here. I love being a special education administrator, and I love now being able to be on the national platform. I'll be traveling all around the country and really bringing career awareness and pathways for domestic violence survivors. And I love living here. The fire department actually just saved my dad's life on Thanksgiving morning. So thank you. I love living here. He's still in ICU and critical care, but I know that if we didn't have such an amazing response from our fire department and our sheriff's department, that he would not be here. So as your Mrs. US 2022, I love living in Canyon Lake, and I will live here forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your advocacy. So we have a certificate of recognition for you. And again, thank you, and we are honored to have you as our December Citizen of the Month. You're welcome. Can we take a picture? Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think we'll just move forward to the next one. Okay. We are going to move past our next matter and reserve that towards later in the agenda. Now we will move on to the swearing in and badge pinning for our new Canyon Lake Fire personnel. If we could call up Chief Latendresse.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. So as the council will recall, at our meeting last month, we had the pleasure of swearing in the first ever fire chief of our Canyon Lake Fire Department, Jeff Latendresse. Chief Latendresse has been working tirelessly over the past year to stand up our new fire department. And tonight, we have the pleasure of swearing in our battalion chief, our captains, our engineers, and our firefighters. So I'm going to turn this portion of the meeting over to Chief Latendresse.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, members of staff, and the entire city of Canyon Lake. I stand here before you this evening at one of the proudest moments of my career. When you set policy at the November 4, 2020 City Council meeting, you directed the city manager to take all actions as necessary to prepare the city of Canyon Lake to begin fire operations on January 1st, 2022. Well, we stand before you today in the final phase of implementing your policy as we bring all new members of your fire department before you to be sworn in and to receive their badges. This is a joyous night for you, the City Council, for our community, for the new firefighters, and for the members of their families. As you can see, the City Council chamber is full this evening, and it's full of family and friends of the firefighters. Why, you ask? Because they are proud of what they do and what they are about to embark on, and they want to show their support as they begin the Training Orientation Academy that will prepare them to serve our community. Being a spouse, a child, or a loved one of a firefighter is a difficult job. Firefighting is still one of the most dangerous professions in the world. What a typical person runs from, we run to. We see these life-saving actions every day on television, and most of us will never forget the heroics we saw on September 11th when the 343 New York City firefighters ran into the towers and never came out. The fire service is steep in tradition, and tonight we witness one of the most treasured of those traditions, the pinning of the badge on a new firefighter or either one that's just being promoted in another step of their career. This is more than just a proud moment. It's the acceptance of responsibility and the acquisition of a long-standing tradition of service. The badge is not merely a piece of metal. It's a symbol. It's an icon that carries several thousand years of heritage and obligation. Unfortunately, many of the individuals in our society today have lost sight of what that shield has become as part of our profession. The acceptance of it focuses too much in too many cases on the attainment of a position as opposed to what the badge stands for. I'd like to spend a minute or two and talk about the badge and how the new Canyon Lake Fire Department badge explain the importance of it in a modern fire department setting. And trust me, all of these new firefighters got this speech earlier today, so they know and understand what I'll be talking about as I go through some of these different items. So, several thousand years ago, this will be a long story, I'll try to be quick, civilization began to organize into groups that stood for various activities or philosophies. Not really much different than we are today. In order to show who was on one side or the other, they developed flags and banners. On these banners, or often these banners, they carried in front of a marching military organization as an indication of the loyalty of that particular group. The symbol that was used by their respective group, however, was used to identify friend from foe. Later, as adversarial relationships grew stronger and the weaponry grew more sophisticated, individual weapons took to carry a device to protect themselves against the weapons. These were called shields. And as many people were right-handed at the time, they carried their shield in their left hand. This is the reason why we wear our badges on the left side of our chest, because that's where they held their shield to protect themselves. Often the symbol of the organization was emblazoned on the front of the shield so the troops could distinguish themselves in time of battle. Many individuals, as I just said, were right-handed. Therefore, the shield was carried on their left arm, leaving the right hand free to wield some other form of weapon. Beginning with the Crusades, there was another organization whose symbols began to stand for something other than the difference between friend or foe. The Order of the Knights of Malta quickly became associated with those who went out of their way to engage in courageous acts to save people who were endangered by the infamous Greek fire. In addition, the shield was used for another more gruesome purpose. It was not uncommon for a person who was killed in the line of combat to be carried from the field of battle on their shield. Often, the knight who suffered in combat was buried with the shield. If they survived and were able to either return to battle or at least back to a useful life, they were often rewarded with additional symbols that was allowed to be placed on their shield. One of the most common shields that was used was weapons that were crossed. In the language of heraldry, anytime a weapon was crossed, it meant that it had been earned in combat. For example, crossed swords meant that a person had actually gone into battle. Crossed battle axes meant that the person used the weapon in warfare. The weapon standing alone merely indicated an intent. If it was crossed, it indicated performance. So as you look at the collar brass on the personnel standing here before you this evening, that's why some of our bugles are crossed, some of them are separate, and some don't have them. It's a way for the fire service to identify the rank structure in our organization. So what does this have to do with our badge? Well, you have to understand the past to understand the way things are. Today, most badges have a continuous circle around the entire badge. It looks like a rope or a chain. Not unlike a ring, it is unbroken and it goes from one part of the badge all the way around to the other. The purpose behind this was symbolically to illustrate dedication and commitment to duty. An unbroken ring meaning loyalty. At the top of our badge is the image of an eagle, the symbol of our great country. It is meant to signify the oath of our personnel are about to take and that they retain committed to our community and to our country. There you have it, a brief overview of the piece of metal that we ceremonially attach to our uniforms each and every day. It's not a sign of graduation, it's a symbol of commitment. That shield that was once used to protect an individual is a symbolic way of the responsibility that a firefighter has of placing themselves between an emergency catastrophe and the lives and property that can be saved. No matter what its shape, size, design, or rank, it remains a part of the uniform to remind us of our obligation as a symbol of our authority to act. So sorry for getting a little long-winded, but I believe it's important as we swear in our new personnel that you understand that they know the importance of this event, and again, it's why their families and friends are here this evening. It is now my honor to introduce the members of the Canyon Lake Fire Department. I will call each member up and introduce them. Once all are assembled, the city clerk will swear them in, and we will invite individuals from the audience that they have picked themselves to pin their badges on them. So, first and foremost, Battalion Chief Mike Samuels, please come down. Thank you, sir. He's my right-hand man. I stand before you humbled, and we were able to bring him on a couple weeks early, and he has been a godsend. He has really enhanced what we are performing and what we're doing. Chief Samuels is an Orange County native and was raised in Santa Ana. After graduating from the Santa Ana Fire Academy, he was quickly hired by the Corona Fire Department in 1987. Corona at that time was a very different city, and he was part of the team that led the fire department through the incredible growth period that that city saw. Chief Samuels has been a firefighter, engineer, captain, battalion chief, and retired as a division chief in 2000, as deputy chief in 2017. But he kept teaching at the Santa Ana Fire Academy and worked as a fire consultant for Citygate and Associates. Chief Samuels has a bachelor's degree in fire administration and an associate's degree in fire technology. Chief Samuels started working for the city in the middle of November and has been a blessing, as I just said, since he's been here. Chief Samuels lives locally in Murrieta and will be pinned this evening by his wife, Rhonda. So if you can take your spot. By the seal. Fire Captain Chris Bertrand. Captain Bertrand is another native California, having grown up in the South Bay area of Los Angeles County. Captain Bertrand served with the Kern County Fire Department for over 21 years, the last 7 of those years as a fire captain. During his time with Kern County, Captain Bertrand earned 2 associate's degrees and a bachelor's degree and has responded statewide on some of the largest vegetation fires, wildland fires in our state's history. Captain Bertrand also works for the city of Newport Beach as a pilot on the Harbor Patrol boat, and we hope to use that experience here as he comes into Canyon Lake. Captain Bertrand resides in Costa Mesa and will be pinned this evening by his wife, Kimberly. Thank you. Captain Chico Sanchez, come on down. Humberto. Congratulations. Yet another native California, Captain Sanchez was raised in the Pasadena area of LA County. Captain Sanchez has worked for 28 years with the Huntington Beach Fire Department and retired earlier this year as a fire engineer. He has a bachelor's degree in fire science and is a certified fire officer through the state of California and is bilingual in Spanish. During his time in Huntington Beach, he worked on many years on the hazardous materials team and is a California certified hazardous materials specialist. Captain Sanchez is involved in many off-duty fire department activities, including being a member of the Honor Guard and working at many charitable events. Captain Sanchez lives locally in Temecula and would be pinned this evening by his wife, your son, Christopher, I'm sorry. Thank you. I think I'm more nervous than they are. Captain Paramedic Brennan Gorder. Congratulations. Sir. Captain Gorder was actually born in the Netherlands and speaks Dutch. So if we have some Dutch-speaking individuals out here, we've got that covered. Captain Gorder comes to us from the Morongo Valley Fire Department and the Yermo Calico Fire Department and has been a captain for over 5 years. Captain Gorder has both an associate's and a bachelor's degree and is an emergency medical technician instructor at a local community college. In his previous department, he was also a captain paramedic, and at that department, he serves as the Department Emergency Medical Services Coordinator, and we've already tapped him in to fill that position for our department. Captain Gorder lives in Calamasa and will be pinned this evening by his girlfriend, Caitlin. Fire Engineer Tim O'Mara. Congratulations. Engineer O'Mara hails from the other coast, the east one. He's a native of New York, and he attended the Fire Academy in Florida. And upon completion of the Fire Academy, he was hired by the Eagle River Fire Protection District in Colorado. He has 8 years of experience with that agency, with the last 6 years as a fire engineer, working in a larger department, and has experience on engines, ladders, and wildland apparatus. He holds 2 separate associate's degrees, one in general studies and one in fire science. I must say that Engineer O'Mara is not looking to relocate here. That's because he's currently a Canyon Lake resident. He will be pinned by his son, Smith.
Nice.
Thank you. Firefighter Paramedic John Grant. Congratulations. Fire engineer, did I say firefighter paramedic? I did. Look at that, the first field promotion has just occurred. We don't have to get you a new badge yet because we haven't got you one yet. Fire engineer paramedic Jonathan Grant. Engineer Grant hails from the San Jose area and previously worked for the Borrego Springs Fire Department, where he served as an engineer paramedic for the last 5 years. He's been a paramedic for over 15 years and has worked for the Escondido and Sierra Madre Fire Departments and AMR ambulance here in Riverside County. John is currently working on his bachelor's degree and expects to graduate early next year. John is also bilingual in Spanish. John resides locally in Hemet, and he will be pinned this evening by his son, Noah. Fire engineer Corey Willis. Congratulations. Fire Engine Willis is another native California growing up in the OC, where he spent time on the beach working as a lifeguard. While a lifeguard, he discovered a calling for public service and sought a career in the fire service. Engineer Willis has worked with CAL FIRE for the last 8 years and promoted to engineer in 2020. His last assignment was in Monterey County, where in his role as fire engineer, he was the officer of the apparatus. He also worked for the U.S. Forest Service as a firefighter on the Cleveland for over 7 years. Another long commute just got a little shorter because Engineer Willis is also a Canyon Lake resident. He will be pinned by his girlfriend, Jasmine.
Congrats.
Firefighter paramedic Nathaniel Garcia. Congratulations. Again, another native California, and he's lived all of his life here in the Inland Empire. Firefighter Garcia comes to us from the Morongo Valley Fire Department, where he was a firefighter paramedic for almost 2 years and a volunteer firefighter in Northern California for almost 5 years. He's been a paramedic for over 6 years and has worked for the Glendale Fire Department and AMR in San Bernardino. Firefighter Garcia has 2 associate's degree and a bachelor's degree, and also is an EMT skills instructor. Firefighter Garcia resides in Riverside and will be pinned tonight by his wife, Lindsay.
Okay.
Firefighter paramedic Matt Green. Firefighter paramedic Matt Green is another transplant from the East Coast and hails from New Jersey. Matt was a volunteer firefighter in his hometown and relocated to California and attended the Palomar Fire Academy in San Diego. Matt has worked for the Morongo Reservation Fire Department as a firefighter paramedic, was a wildland captain for Capstone Fire and Safety Management, and a reserve firefighter for the San Diego County Fire Department, and also worked for McCormick's and Doctors Ambulance in both LA and Orange County. Matt has an associate's degree in fire science and will be pinned this evening by his wife, Courtney. Firefighter paramedic Christopher Bratt.
Nice.
Firefighter Bratt is another native California from Victorville. He comes to us from the San Bernardino County Fire Department, where he has worked for the past 5 years, the last year as a paramedic. He was also a volunteer firefighter for the Newberry Springs Fire Department. Firefighter Bratt is currently working on his associate's degree and has only 2 classes remaining and is expected to complete them early next year. Firefighter Bratt resides in Victorville and will be pinned by his wife, Jennifer. Reserve firefighter paramedic Ryan Moore. Firefighter Moore is a native California and hails from the OC. He has worked for the Huntington Beach and Murrieta Fire Departments as a firefighter paramedic and the Escondido Fire Department as a paramedic. Firefighter Moore has been a paramedic for over 8 years. He has 2 associate's degrees and just completed nursing school and is a licensed registered nurse. Firefighter Moore resides in Trabuco Canyon and will be pinned by his wife, Jenna. Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, these individuals standing before you have over 160 years of combined service, 16 different degrees, 6 current paramedics, and even 1 registered nurse. From a fire chief's perspective, I am extremely impressed, humbled, and honored to present to you the Canyon Lake Fire Department. Okay, now everybody's going to shift to the left. Let's shift to the left. Chief Samuels, if you'll stand behind the seal. Oh, I'm sorry, let's not shift that. I apologize, I made one mistake. At this time, I'd like our city clerk to swear you all in. Okay, now shift to your right. Rhonda? So now we're going to go through and have each family member pin their firefighter.
Okay.
Oh, you need badges.
Wait, what?
While she's doing that, we actually almost didn't have badges. Just like everything else, we ordered them about 4 months ago, and we picked them up at 2 o'clock this afternoon. So one of them's still missing. We had a backup plan. We always have to have backup plans in the fire service. So we were prepared, and we had our sticker badges just in case. So.
Can I wear this right now?
Kimberly? Please, no blood. We haven't built the paramedic supplies yet. We're going to do that tomorrow. Christopher. Each badge is personalized and numbered with their employee ID on them. It's got the city seal on it and the American flag and the eagle, so it's kind of cool. Hurry, quick, run. Chico, you're always... Something we've learned about Chico is he takes a lot of time. I can tell you from experience, there's nothing prouder than being able to have your son pin your badge on you while you're still in uniform. It's an honor. Caitlin. This will be a fun one. Smith. There you go. You got to take this with you. Is engine 60 back yet? We might need some medical attention here. Good for Noah? Jasmine. Oops, sorry. Did I miss? I'm sorry. Tim. I'm sorry, Noah. There you go. All right. And now Jasmine. Lindsay? You guys aren't going to say anything, are you? I got out of line. Courtney. We'll fix it later. Jennifer? And Jenna. I think the one helping Jenna is Hudson. Okay, these are our sworn firefighters. I've got a couple more introductions. It'll just take a minute, but if we could line up behind this or in front of the seal and get a group shot of everybody. Okay, there's still, as you notice, at least one or two people back there still in uniform. So before I release the sworn safety members of the fire department, I want to call forward two additional personnel. And the first one is our medical director, Doc Zeke Foster. Guess whose badge didn't arrive? The doctor's. So I've already apologized to him. Dr. Foster is an emergency room physician at the Inland Valley Medical Center, which is the hospital most of our patients will be transported to. Dr. Foster is also the medical director for Riverside County Fire and for the Murrieta Fire and Rescue Department. In his role here in the city, he will oversee our EMS program and assist us in ensuring that we give the highest quality care to the patients that we see in our community. He has the experience of working with our partners in Riverside County and Murrieta, and I can assure you that he will be on top of us, he will ride with us, he will train us, he will coach us, and he will mentor us, and he will ensure that the service we provide as your Canyon Lake Fire Department is nothing but the best. So Dr. Foster, thank you. Please join our group. So I can't see behind me, but there's one more person in black, isn't there, back there? Bailey, could you come down, please? This is Bailey Ward, for those of you who don't know you, and she's been with the city for just about a year now, where she started off as an intern for the city. Before that, she got hired as a part-time intern. And when I came here in February, she just kind of latched on, and it's like, what can I do? What do you need? Well, I need everything. In case you haven't heard, we're starting a fire department. And so we got her books on fire administration. She's read them. She's been inventory every piece of equipment. She probably knows more than some of the firefighters might know right now. I have been honored when it came time to ask the city manager to start a recruitment for the administrative assistant analyst for the fire department, to say we don't have to look any further. We're going to promote from within, we're going to invest in our own, and we're going to give Bailey, not give, she's earned the position of administrative analyst for our fire department. And so I couldn't be prouder to see her promote. And it's the same thing we told our guys today, earlier this afternoon. We will invest in our people. We don't want to go to the outside, and every one of them is going to promote up through the ranks in our fire department. We're going to build a strong organization where we train and we grow from within. So Bailey, congratulations. Welcome. And now if we could do one more picture with everybody involved.
You did great, dude. You did so good. You made it. Okay.
Thank you so much. Well, I can honestly say that during my time as mayor, there has been no greater honor than to be present during that swearing-in. So thank you so much, Chief, for hiring such outstanding and stellar personnel. It is now time for City Council reorganization. Moving on to selection of mayor and mayor pro tem. And everyone is out of here. Okay.
I wouldn't take it personally.
I'm not. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, guys. It was nice.
It was perfect.
It was great.
Hey, you're welcome to stay for the exciting part of the meeting.
That was the exciting part.
I love the children here. We usually are so solemn in the chamber, and it's nice to see the energy from the little ones and the excitement to see their loved ones and their daddies get their being sworn in. So thank you for the little children that came and made it feel a little Christmassy and a little bit lighter. Thank you.
Also, the best Pledge of Allegiance we've ever had. Huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So,
We
do I
ready?
get to make a motion?
Yes.
Not quite yet. I just want to give a brief introduction on what we're doing here. So we're going to go through the city council reorganization. This is something that the city council does every year. We have a rotating mayor and a rotating mayor pro tem. So the council at the December meeting every year gets to make an appointment of the mayor, make an appointment of the mayor pro tem. So what we can do, we can have a motion, if there's a motion from any council members to select a mayor, and we can do a motion for both positions, for the mayor and the mayor pro tem seat. If there's a second, then we will follow that with a roll call vote.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. I would like to make a
I
motion.
have a motion.
I have a motion.
Okay.
And I'm pulling rank.
And you are,
at this
that's
moment.
right. She
All right.
does outrank us. Okay. I retract my motion.
Okay. My motion is to appoint as mayor Jeremy Smith and as mayor pro tem Larry Green.
I'll second.
Do we have a, okay.
I was going to second, my
All
mic's a little
right.
slow.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Castillo and a second by Councilmember Dane to appoint Jeremy Smith as the mayor and Larry Green as the mayor pro tem. We will now do a roll call vote. Councilmember Castillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Councilmember Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Welty.
Aye.
Motion carried. Congratulations to Mayor Smith and Mayor Pro Tem Green.
So now we have a recess.
We are going to let our newly appointed mayor say a few words.
Yeah, so before we want to present something to you, but we all want to say something. The last year, through your leadership, has been absolutely incredible. So I get the honor of starting this, and then every single one of us get to say something. But I look up to you, and I don't think there's a single person in this community that can say that you have not been as responsive or transparent as you possibly can be. I've never seen anyone respond to Facebook messages quite like Casey. Absolutely incredible. I got big shoes to fill, and I'm blessed that I have a friendship with you. I'm excited for this next year, but it has been such an honor to be able to serve next to you and do the things that we have done has been incredible. And I'm going to let our new mayor pro tem say a few words.
Excuse me, I have to push the button. It's been a real honor to have Casey as mayor for a couple reasons. One, she's actually brought personality to our council. Seriously. I mean, everybody looks at us as like sticks in the mud, I guess. I don't know. But we do a lot of things. But it's also the leadership that she has exhibited, not only on council, but in the community. And she has made contact with many of our service groups, because this community is service group driven, from charities to helping our veterans to you name it. And the face of the city has been the mayor. And I want to thank her for that, because that has led us to have, again, a positive leadership role in our community and an excellent example of what I think a mayor should do in a community such as ours. So again, congratulations.
Councilwoman Dane?
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say thank Casey for her support of the community, the support of me, and her love for this community, and being new-ish on this council. I couldn't have asked for better leadership, and just appreciate everything you do for all of us. So thank you.
Councilmember Walty?
Yeah, Casey, thank you. I'm not as new as Jim, but I'm relatively new. Thank you for the welcome on board. I've served on a lot of committees with 5 people, and you have kept everybody so positive and so respectful for each other. This is like one of the best teams I've ever been a part of, and a leader creates the team. And so thank you for doing such a great job, and your work in community. I always see you out there in the community flagging me down, waving down the golf carts, sending us this way, sending us that way. So great face of the council, so appreciate that.
Before I let you say some closing words, we have a plaque for you that we want to present. And then The staff also got some flowers for you as well.
Thank you, guys.
Chris said no, but Anna said absolutely, we have to. So you can.
I wanted an ice maker, actually.
Yeah, there's a hidden secret with that ice maker.
Thank you. Okay.
Perfect, there we go. Casey, it's an honor. This is awesome. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for everything that you've done. Here, take a picture of this. We are so blessed. The best part about giving this plaque is you still get to work with us next year, and we're so excited about it. I'm going to let you say a few words, though.
Okay. I'm going to put this down because this is heavy. It has been one of the honors of my life, and I don't want to get emotional because we have a lot of work to do, but the reason I do get emotional is because there's just so many good people in Canyon Lake. And yesterday in the golf cart parade, we participated by driving in it, and I turned around and told my kids, look at all these people in the parade and look at all these people on the side of the street. These are good people, and these are the people of Canyon Lake. We have an amazing staff. Just the community makes this worth it, and it's a lot of time and a lot of energy, but I could not be prouder of the work that we've done. So thank you, guys.
Absolutely. All right, at this time, we're going to go to recess at 7:22. Of course, can we get up here and do a photo real quick? We gotta hold the flag, there's some flowers.
Okay, the fire people weren't supposed to leave until. That was a waste of money.
We gotta get out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
I think so. We'll get him in there. All right, get your kids at the family shop. With kids, you take about 30 of them. You are going left.
I'm taking my souvenir script.
Get a picture of the former mayor and the current mayor.
All right. Thank you, guys. These flowers are beautiful.
This is my business partner. This is our senior manager. Courtney, Chris. So nice to meet you. This makes all things possible. Yes. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:31. All right. We are community report time. Is Darcy Burke on the phone?
Unfortunately, she is not. She had an event at 7 o'clock, and she sends her apologies. She couldn't hang on. And we
I
also,
get it.
we also do not have a report from President Commission either, so no community reports tonight.
Except for our sheriff.
That's our public safety update.
That's right. Okay, so we're good.
Yeah.
Moving along, public safety report. You stuck around with us. Thank you, Lieutenant Rails.
Not a
The
problem.
floor is yours.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members and staff. I have your public safety report covering the month of November. Deputies in Canyon Lake responded to 335 calls per service, which is a decrease from 32 calls from October, which was 367. In the month of November, we had 6 Part 1 crimes reported in the city of Canyon Lake. We had 1 aggravated assault, 4 thefts or larcenies, and 1 motor vehicle theft. In addition, deputies had 0 public intoxication arrests, wrote 14 traffic citations, had 1 DUI arrest, investigated 1 traffic collision, and overall had 6 arrests in the city, 5 for outstanding warrants and then 1 for the DUI. In addition to that, I do not have the response times this time because it's early in the month. With everything going on in the holidays, my crime analyst didn't finish them. So what I'll do is I'll complete those in the annual report coming up in January. That way we have all the months there.
Perfect.
So you can see the difference. The only thing to note is that we had 14 traffic citations, which is a lot more than normal. Part of that's from the one day that we had Menifee PD working. We had our
Nice.
deputies working all the way down Hemet. I don't know the overall amount of citations written in that, but we had about 8 that day here, but in addition, we had 14 altogether, so. And I think it's working because we only had 1 traffic collision noted.
Wow.
So we're gonna continue those efforts. We have another one coming up with them. We're gonna try to do it once a month at least. So you're gonna see more enforcement along Railroad Canyon.
Vary the hours?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
The hours will vary.
Okay, thank
They'll
you.
do some at night, some mid-afternoons, and then some mornings.
Any other questions for Lieutenant Rails?
Just comment, I'm pleased that you guys are proactive on this. It makes me very happy that, we can talk about a problem forever and until we take an action, it's really pretty pointless. So I'm just excited you guys stepped up and said, hey, we're going to take this on.
Anyone else? We good? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
We appreciate it. Thanks for the report. Next, we have Fire, Division Chief Alani Olson.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This is your fire statistics for November. So for November, you had 2 false alarms, 55 medical aids, 2 public service assists, and 1 traffic collision for a total of 60 calls. Of that, 38 of them were responded to and on scene in less than 5 minutes. 22 took between 5 and 10 minutes, and 2 took over between 10 and 20 minutes to respond to. Overall average response time was 4.8 minutes. For those calls, 21 of the calls were run by the Canyon Hills Fire Station. Quail Valley Fire Station ran 9, and the Canyon Lake Fire Station ran 30 calls. And Chief Roberts informed me that you guys like to know the times that the Engine 60 ran in and out. I was able to pull that up till this morning for year-to-date, so you could have what they've done for the whole year. It was 7 calls run into the city of Lake Elsinore and 25 into the county. And that's the end of the report, unless you guys have any questions for me.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that last statistic? You said how many calls out?
Calls out, so into the city of Lake Elsinore, 7, and 25 into the county areas.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Appreciate the report. All right, moving right along, code enforcement. Ruby.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. I'm going to be providing you with the activity report for the month of November, and I'm going to dive right into our BLM. 6 citations were issued out there for illegal use of vehicles. We do have an increase of illegal dumping, and we do have a scheduled cleanup for BLM for the month of January of 2022. Short-term rentals were all cut up. We brought them into compliance, so now we're just going to be monitoring all the vacation rentals sites that we're aware of and those properties that we know that they still continue.
How's that going, by the way?
So far, it's been quiet. I
Okay.
haven't received any complaints
I haven't
yet.
either, that's why I asked.
Okay.
So,
So
you.
we're trying. Our residential rental registrations, we have a total of 361 active rental registrations. 268 of those have been completed, which includes applications and inspections, and we still have 93 inspections that need to be conducted.
You can say 96 now, I just did mine today.
Sorry,
so.
93.
Just kidding.
I know, I heard that. And then 34 fire inspections so far.
Perfect.
And that's it.
Any other questions?
No.
Awesome. Any questions? No? We are good. Thank you so much. All right. Madam Clerk, will you please read the public comment statement?
Thank you, Mayor. Any person wishing to address the City Council on any matter within the jurisdiction of the city, whether or not it appears on this agenda, is asked to complete a speaker request form available on the back counter. The completed form is to be submitted to the city clerk prior to an individual being heard by the City Council. The City Council has adopted a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you're commenting on the agenda item, your comments will be heard at the time that particular item is scheduled on the agenda. Please note that if you're addressing the City Council on items not on the agenda, the Brown Act does not allow discussion of such items. Therefore, the City Council may only do the following: refer the matter to staff, ask for additional information, or request a report back, or give a very limited factual response. Members of the public may still submit their comment electronically by sending an email with their comment to publiccomment@canyonlakeca.gov. Comments submitted electronically will be provided to the City Council and included in the official record, but will not be read aloud during this meeting. I have no comments.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Will you please read the consent calendar statement?
All items listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine matters, status reports, or documents covering previous City Council action. The items listed on the consent calendar may be enacted in one motion. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member may request that an item be removed for further discussion. Staff recommends approval of all items.
Do I have a council member that wishes to pull any of these items? Hearing none, I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion on the floor, I need a second.
Second.
All right, I got a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Green, and I got a second from Councilmember Welty. May the clerk please give us a roll call vote?
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Cool. Moving along. This is going to be my first public hearing. Let's see if I can get it right. Tell me if I do it wrong. All right, public hearing. This is going to be for business item number 5, resolution adoption number 2021-71, adopting the Canyon Lake Fire Department deposit-based fee schedule for fire preparation, plan review, plan checks, and inspection. Public hearing open at 7:40. Staff presentation.
Your Honorable Mayor, City Council, staff, pretty exciting night. Glad I was here for that. And the chief did a tremendous job, and it was very emotional. So I've actually been here almost 21 years, and to see this big and this growth is just amazing. So what you have before you is we're basically adopting the County of Riverside's fee schedule. And so pursuant to the provisions of the California Constitution and the laws of the state of California, the city is authorized to adopt and implement fees, rates, and charges for municipal services, provided that such fees, rates, and charges do not exceed the estimated reasonable cost of providing such services. So the city has the right to impose those fees, but the fees cannot exceed an estimated reasonable cost of providing the service or facility for which the fee is charged. We did a fee study, I think, 3 years ago, and implemented that. And so These fees are basically deposit-based. So when the application comes in, we'll take a deposit, and then as staff time or is charged, then we will reduce that fee. Most of the time, the deposit will cover that. And since we are transitioning from the Riverside County Fire Department, we're going to recommend, until we can do a new fee study, that we adopt the Riverside County Fire Department's fee schedule. We will be bringing a comprehensive citywide user fee study as part of the next budget fiscal year. And so until we can do that, we need to adopt their fee schedule. It's kind of hard to determine what the impact would be right now, but it is a revenue to the city, and it's basically going to break even with costs. So any questions?
Just on the, are we doing a nexus on all fees next time?
Yes, it will include all fees
All
of
fees
the
in-house?
Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Last time the city did a comprehensive fee analysis was in 2018. And
Yeah, I was the one that kind of pushed that because we hadn't adjusted our fees in Terry in a long time, and we had lost a lot of revenue.
Yes.
Obviously because being behind the times. So right on top.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, and, the city's gone through a number of significant changes since then, not just with the fire department, but also taking our building department in-house and, just kind of other departments that have staffed up. So it's probably time to update those fees.
Yeah, because their costs have changed or the structure of the costs have changed, so.
Any other questions from council members? Okay, moving along to testimony by proponents.
We have none.
None? Testimony by opponents.
None.
All right. Public hearing is now closed at 7:43. Discussion by city council. Going once? Going twice? There's going to be none. Okay. Action by city council. Madam Clerk, will you please do a roll call vote? No, I need a motion on this. I apologize. I need a motion.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All right. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Green, second by Council Member Welty. I need a roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Welty.
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried to adopt resolution number 2021-71.
Perfect. If I may have the permission of the council, next is business item number 6, but I would like to do a presentation to Captain Carter, if that's okay. Captain Carter, would you please join me up here? We have a presentation for you.
Great.
Put that mic out.
I know.
Where would you like me?
We'd like you right,
Right here.
right there.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it.
Okay, where's the plaque? Oh, this awesome plaque. Is it coming?
Oh, it's
Are
coming.
we gonna wait for it? No.
We can start.
Okay, perfect. Because it's an awesome flag, so excited about it. Captain Carter's dedication to public service began with him serving as a volunteer with CAL FIRE in 1985. In 1986, Captain Carter enlisted with the U.S. Air Force and served as an active duty member and a reserve until 1992. He was hired in 1989 with CAL FIRE and transitioned to San Jacinto Fire Department until 1995. He served the city of Canyon Lake from 1995 until 2000, when he transferred down to San Diego in 2002. Carter returned back to Canyon Lake as the station captain until station closed from 2015 to 2017. He returned to Canyon Lake in July of 2017, where he will serve our community until January 2022. So I think it's an understatement when you know Canyon Lake very well, inside and out. So we just want to say thank you on behalf of the council, on behalf of the staff, for all your work, all your dedication, for being as professional as he has been through everything that we've done at the city level. It's an honor, and we're so blessed on everything that you've done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Here's this plaque that we have for you. It's pretty incredible. It's going to take two to hold it, so.
Turn towards the camera.
Can we get everyone up here to take the photo, please?
Sure.
Don't hold the helmet.
Don't hold it by the helmet.
Don't hold it by the helmet.
great. Then if we could just get the mayor and Captain Carter in. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you. You can handle this thing? Oh, yeah. You got it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Ben, here you go. Let me just a few more words.
It's been an honor to serve the community. I've watched a lot of things change and grow and made a lot of friends and people in the community that are just like family. We just left for a call and that was like someone that I've known in the community for a long time. So it was like family, being there with them and helping them in their time of need. So that's what it's all about, is being there when people, do that 911 call. It's probably the worst time in their life, and we get to go there and restore order out of chaos and help and comfort and bring resolution to or mitigation to the incident. So I thank you very much for your support and congratulations, and congratulations to you, and thank you, city staff and council, for your support. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, I think it would be okay if the council would like to say a few words about Captain Carter.
Absolutely. Please, if you don't mind, can we start off with Councilmember Welty?
Thank you for your service to the community. We are so glad to have the great level of service that you guys provided, and thanks. I mean, the community was very thankful for all things you've done, and you've kept us safe, and in some pretty rough times you guys have come through, so I appreciate that.
And it's a group effort, everybody in here, and not here tonight. So it's not one person, we're a team, family, it's just like a second family.
Absolutely.
Which is, people say that a lot, but it really is true. It's like a second family, and we rib each other and give each other a hard time, but it's, thank you. It's good.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Yeah, it's been a run for us.
Yes, sir.
I've known you for a day or two now.
A few.
And I think my hair's changed, of course, and I think you've kind of flowered up a little, but it has been a real honor to have you here at Station 60, have you in our community. As you said, you have become a face within the community. People have known you for years, and you've done a great job. So I wish you the best, and don't forget where we are. You're always welcome, but I wish you the best on your retirement, and there's lots of things out there, so
Yes, sir.
just enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you again for your service.
My honor.
Councilwoman Dane?
Thank you very much for your service. We appreciate everything that you've done for this community, and especially during this time of transition. So just thank you very much for what you've done.
Thank you. Councilwoman Castillo?
I just want to say that I'm grateful for your leadership. I remember sitting through a women's club meeting where you came to talk about fire prevention and not parking your golf cart plugged in the garage. And I want you to know I listened to what you said, and I told my family, no, park your golf cart in the garage, plugged in.
Do not leave it unattended, charging overnight.
That's right. So I'm grateful for you, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
I'm so appreciative of the professionalism that you and your men have given us. It's just been incredible. And, the whole concept of being a public servant, it's just, you guys continue day in and day out, do the hard job that's asked of you. So I just want to say thank you and enjoy your retirement. We appreciate all that you've given to Canyon Lake, and God bless you.
Thank you. It's been an honor. I thank you very much. Thank you for the recognition. As I said earlier, I've made some lifelong friends, in the community, and it's I don't know how to say it. It's just a an honor to be able to help people in their time of need. And it sounds corny, but
That's
that's what it's
great.
all about, being there when their time of need. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, moving on to business item number 6, unless I'm told otherwise to do something else. Are we good?
We're good.
Okay.
You're doing a great job, by the way.
We're going to look at committee assignments for the upcoming year 2022, committee and agency assignments. The city clerk to introduce this item, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is our annual reassignment of our committees. The city council every year goes through, we have a list of our committee and agency assignments, and so we're just going to go down the list. I'm going to let you know who we have currently assigned to these agencies, and then we have some recommendations, and the council can just kind of let me know whether you wish to proceed with those recommendations or if you wish to do something different. Just for the record, the city clerk's office did post a Form 806 up on the city's website, and it's also available on our bulletin board, so we can proceed with action tonight. All right, so we're going to start off with the City of Canyon Lake Standing Committees, our Finance and Planning Committee. We currently have as chair, we have Councilmember Castillo, and we have our Mayor Smith as the member. Does the council wish to change that or remain the same?
I'm going to leave it up to my colleagues. I would ask that, as most of you know, next year is going to be crucial on a financial aspect just because of our fire department. If this council's okay with keeping it the same, I would be privileged to work on that again just to finish it through with Councilwoman Castillo. So it's up for conversation.
I'm fine with doing that, but I would defer the chair position to the mayor.
Any objections on that?
No objection.
No objections.
Okay.
So I have Mayor Smith as the chair and then Councilmember Castillo as the member.
Okay.
All right, our next we have our city ad hoc committees. We'll start off with our Veterans Day Committee. Currently on this committee, we have.
Madam Clerk, are we looking at the Canyon Lake Emergency Preparedness Committee?
No, that's down.
I have it number 2 right here. Oh, you do? Yeah, as standing committees.
I think we're going to go ahead and we'll skip to that one in just a little bit. I wouldn't say that one's quite yet a standing committee of the city. That is something that we intend to look into as we start our new fire department. It will most likely become a standing committee, but that's not been decided just yet.
Perfect.
Okay. So we'll move on to the Veterans Day Committee. Currently, we have Councilwoman Castillo on there. I have a recommendation to have Councilwoman Castillo and Councilwoman Dane. Does the council wish to proceed with that recommendation?
Works for me.
Works for me.
Works for me.
Yep, good to go.
Ladies? Yes,
Me
okay.
too. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, our next ad hoc committee is our Scholarship Committee. This is kind of a new one, so I have a recommendation to have Councilmember Castillo and Councilmember Dane as the representatives. Does the council wish to proceed with that recommendation?
Works for me.
Works for me.
Oh, these are 21
Works for me.
committees.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay. Our next ad hoc committee is going to be the Spirit of Canyon Lake Award Committee. I have a recommendation to have Councilmember Castillo and Councilmember Dane. Does the council wish to proceed with that recommendation?
This one's Spirit of Canyon Lake Award, right?
Yes.
I'm game with that.
Go.
Works for me.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Is that okay? Okay. And our last ad hoc committee for the city will be our 9/11 Event Committee. I have a recommendation for Councilmember Castillo and Councilmember Dane. Does the council wish to proceed with that recommendation?
I love the idea that Councilwoman Dane and Councilwoman Castillo are going to continue just the efforts on all these committee events. This finalizes it, so I'm all in on it. I think it's a great idea. It categorizes it, makes sense. I love it. So whoever's idea was this is genius.
It's great. Go.
Good. Councilmember Welty?
Good.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to our Canyon Lake Emergency Preparedness Committee. I currently have our council liaison is our Mayor Pro Tem Green, and our staff support is Administrative Services Manager Mike Borja. I have a recommendation on here to have Mayor Pro Tem Green and also Councilmember Welty
I'm
as
good
the
if
two
they're good.
members.
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
You guys good with it?
That
I'm
makes
good.
sense.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
so Mayor Pro Tem Green would serve as the chair and Councilmember Welty would be
Okay.
the.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's
Councilman
fine.
Welty? Good with you?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. I'm good.
Just a point of clarification too, this is not an official city committee currently. So we have in the community, it was kind of a community-based emergency preparedness committee. Historically, the city has sent a liaison representative, which has been Mayor Pro Tem Green, and then we've also sent staff support. We did have a meeting a couple years ago with the new committee members to kind of discuss whether we should formalize this as a actual city committee. And then COVID hit, and they were kind of on hold for a while. And now with the formation of our new fire department, we think that it's likely that this structure will change from what it is today. So I just wanted to clarify that these Mayor Pro Tem Green and Councilman Welty would be our liaisons to this really community group. But as it stands now, this is not a city committee.
Understood.
All right, we're going to move on to the LEJWA. That's the Lake Elsinore San Jacinto Watershed Authority. Currently, we have our council liaison our delegate is Councilmember Welty, and our alternate is Councilmember Castillo. I have a recommendation for Councilmember Welty to remain as the delegate, and I would need council's recommendation for an alternate.
Councilwoman Castillo, would you want a recommendation for yourself or for Councilwoman Dane or even the Mayor Pro Tem? What do you think?
I am available to be an alternate if someone else is not interested.
Is anyone interested? Okay. And Councilmember Welty, are you okay with staying on that?
Yes.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and have Councilwoman Castillo be the secondary on that.
The only comment is it meets every other month, doesn't meet every third Thursday.
Perfect. We can make that change.
Absolutely. All right, then we're going to go ahead and move on to the Move I-15 through Temecula Valley Task Force. Currently, we have our committee member is our mayor, and our alternate would be Mayor Pro Tem Green. I have a recommendation to have the mayor remain as the committee member, and I need staff or council's recommendation for an alternate.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm still good.
Okay, I mean, they don't meet, so that's fine.
I did call them and confirm that they still wanted us to keep this on our roster, and they said it's still an active committee,
It
so
is.
let's
Okay.
leave it on there, so.
Perfect.
Okay, next we have PERMA. We currently have our member as our city manager, and our alternate is our admin services manager, so we'll go ahead and just leave that as is, if that's okay with the council.
Yep.
All right. Next, we have our RCA, Regional Conservation Authority. Currently, we have our board member is Mayor Pro Tem Green. Our alternate is Mayor Smith. Would you like to remain keep it the same?
If that's okay, just because RCA has the weird background check thing they do, and
Yeah.
I would not want my colleagues to have to go through that, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have the Riverside County Transportation Commission. We have Commissioner is our mayor. Commissioner alternate is our Mayor Pro Tem. Would you like to remain the same?
I'm game if you guys are.
Yep.
Okay.
Next, we have the Riverside Transit Agency. We have our director is our mayor, and our alternate director is our Mayor Pro Tem. Do you wish to remain the same?
No problem.
No problem with me.
Works for me.
Madam Clerk, on the next one is SCAG.
Yes.
So I want to make, and Mr. City Manager, you can help me through this, but we don't actually get to nominate someone to serve on that board The only reason why
Correct.
I'm on it is because I'm appointed by the president of SCAG.
Correct.
The reason why Jordan was on it was because he was appointed by WRCOG to serve on it. So this isn't a option.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
just want to make sure.
Okay, so we'll remove that one from the roster.
Well, let's leave it on the roster because it is still an agency where we have council members assigned, but we just don't make the appointment ourselves.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you've
So
got the
does
appointment.
the,
Okay,
Yeah, it came down from the president, not from,
yeah.
this is one of those agencies that not each city gets to appoint, so, yeah.
okay.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, so we have the Transportation Committee and there's an additional committee, I believe, that you serve on, Mayor, is that correct? Or is it just the Transportation Committee?
I serve on transportation
Okay.
for
All right.
SCAG.
So I will leave that as is.
Yep.
All right, so our next one is going to be the SCFA, the Executive Management Committee. I currently have staff member as Tyler. We'll go ahead and leave that as is, if that's okay.
He doesn't get a choice, so that works
Yep.
perfect.
Yep. Tyler, you're in.
He's not here to complain.
It's okay.
Oh, there he is.
He's
Thumbs up.
listening.
Good job, Ty.
Okay, our next one's going to be our SCFA, our JPA with Animal Friends. Currently, I have our board member as Councilmember Castillo. I have our alternate board member as Mayor Pro Tem Green. I have a recommendation to have the board member as Councilwoman Dane.
Works for me.
And then I need
Works.
a recommendation from council. Does Mayor Pro Tem Green wish to remain the alternate?
I can, yes.
Okay, so we'll do Councilmember Dane and then Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Perfect. Moving right along.
Our next one is going to be the Vector, Northwest Mosquito and Vector Control District. Currently, we have, our trustee is Councilmember Welty. I have a recommendation to leave him as the trustee. Does-
Works.
Mr. Welty, you go with it?
Works for me.
Everything's going well?
Okay, and do we have a recommendation for an alternate trustee?
I don't think my wife will let me, so,
Mosquitoes are bad.
yeah, they're really bad.
Do we need
Mayor Pro Tem?
I don't know that we need an alternate. We currently don't have an alternate. It'd be good to have somebody just in case.
I'll take it.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, next we have WRCOG, or Western Riverside Council of Governments. We have our executive committee member. We currently have Councilwoman Castillo. And I have a recommendation to have Councilmember Welty as the executive committee member.
Works for me.
Does that work? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good
And
with it.
then we have an alternate as Mayor Pro Tem Green. Do you wish to remain as alternate?
Sure.
That's perfect. That's a good alternate.
And then lastly, we have our WRCOG Technical Advisory Committee. We have our committee member as our city manager. So that will remain as is, if that's okay with the council.
Madam Clerk, awesome job. Is there any questions from city council members to staff on any of these agencies or assignments?
I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
Looks like the Cannabis Committee is no longer needed?
Correct.
Correct. And also the Fire Committee. Are we going to amend it to, it looks like we're having this emergency preparedness, and then somehow the council's going to get engaged. Is there a need for the Fire Committee in some form to continue?
I don't believe so. That committee was set up as an ad hoc committee for the startup of the fire department. I don't believe we'll have a need with the department up and running to have we would have to convert it to some type of a standing committee, which requires meeting notices and minutes and whatnot. So if there are issues that arise, we can always convene a meeting, but I don't see that as an ongoing need.
All right, Mr. Mayor, if we can have a motion and a second from the council to approve the 2022 committee and agency assignments, followed by a roll call vote, please.
I make the motion to approve.
Is there any public comments? Oh,
We don't have public comments on this
Okay.
item.
All right, moving along, I do need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
I do need a roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Welty.
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Good. All right. We're rolling. Here we go. Business item number 7. Is that where we're at? Yep, resolution. This is adoption of resolution number 2021-72, awarding a contract to Cotter Construction for the ADA Improvement Project bid number 2021-03. City Manager to introduce this item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Actually, I'll ask our Administrative Services Manager, Mike Borhard, to make this presentation.
Take it away, Mike.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Tonight, city staff.
New glasses, Mike?
Yeah, I need to get them adjusted. Yeah.
Right below there's spare glasses.
Those are the ones you just threw off.
Oh, did he?
Can't see us.
Darn.
I know.
Yeah, lost focus there. Tonight, city staff is asking for city council to adopt resolution 2021-72, awarding a contract to Cotter Construction for ADA improvements, bid number 2021-03 for the property located at 315-4042 Railroad Canyon Road at the Canyon Lake Town Center. Oof. On October 25th of 2021, bids were received and revealed for the city's ADA improvement project. The project consists of basically of repairs to the sidewalk, drainage, entry doorways, thresholds, and restroom improvements. Everything that has been outlined in the previous ADA accessibility report that was presented some time ago to City Council. We received 2 bids, one from Cotter Construction and the other from Zoran Construction Group. Cotter Construction was $135,500. Zoran Construction came in at $247,000. After reviewing the bids, city staff is recommending that City Council award the project to Cotter Construction for the lowest and best bid that we received. There is a slight change to this. Initially, the city was trying to seek 10% contingency with the county for any unforeseen expenses that could come up in construction, as they always tend to do. We were only able to get approved 8% contingency, so the numbers change a little bit. So I'll kind of go over that. You'll notice on the second page the amounts that we're going to be receiving. Well, actually, let me back up a little bit. Let me talk a little bit about the actual overall cost for the project. Basically, right now, our current budget has an allocation of around $48,817. That was pre-approved before. Through the request of the city manager and the approval from county, we were able to reallocate previous CDBG allocation, specifically about $22,950, and we were able to put that towards that 48 that we already had, which brought our total allocation to $71,767. Hopefully I'm not confusing everybody, but I'll try not to. The project, obviously, of the lowest bid was $135,500. So what, through the recommendation of city manager and council the county, we agreed that the county could give us future allocation for the project, which they have approved. They have approved $25,000 for the fiscal years of 22-23, 23-24, and 24-25. So that, for every year, $25,000, so it's about $75,000. That $75,000 then gets allocated to the 71 that we already have, which would actually bring the total to $146,767. The number you see there, $149.50, that was based on 10% contingency. The $146,767 is actually 8% contingency. So because of that, and because we've only have currently allocated in our budget $48,817, we're asking that City Council approve a budget adjustment in the amount of $97,950 into the city's rental fund account 608014. I gave a lot of numbers. I know I probably confused the hell out of everybody here, but Long story short, we're going to get advancement from the county for CDBG for the next 3 fiscal years. And for each fiscal year, we'll get $25,000. That'll give us enough money to cover the entire cost of this project. So it's not going to cost the city a dime. It's all going to be funded through CDBG funds.
Mike, you did a good job. For those of you who are trying to follow and keep up, this is awesome because Mike has been working really hard at finding ways to pay for things without paying for them. And our biggest issues that we've been dealing with is CDBG funds and what to do with them and how to allocate them.
Yes.
And now you went out and took care of us for the next 3 years. So we don't have to have this conversation. I don't have to try to say that acronym anymore. So I do appreciate it.
Yes.
Councilmember Welty, did you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes, are we taking any funds out of the general fund and putting into this? It sounds like you were looking at the 8%. Are we coming out of the general fund to make up that 2%?
No, I don't think we need to. I
So-
think 8% should cover the contingency, but we are asking for the advancement because the way CDBG works is we have to pay for the project up front and we get reimbursed back from the county.
So the adjustment is all within the county funding, and you're just asking for the budget adjustments to make the flow work properly?
That's correct, yes. Yeah. Initially, 10% has been kind of the norm that we do for most projects. But being that the county was only able to allocate us $25,000 for each fiscal year, it came out to about 8% contingency, which I think it's probably just a little over $11,000 in contingency costs.
Councilwoman Castillo, do you have anything on this?
I don't.
Okay. Councilwoman Dane?
I have a question.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So the money that we're getting ahead of time for the
3 years
forthcoming
advancement, yes.
fiscal years, would that money be allocated to something else if we don't use it for this? I mean, is there something that we might need that money for in the future?
In the past, we've always allocated it to either public services, actually mainly public services that help facilitate low-income programs.
Okay.
Because Canyon Lake doesn't really meet the requirement for low income, we don't get direct approval from HUD for this money. All this money actually comes from the county specifically, from their allocation from HUD. And the only reason why they allow us to be part of the program is because they don't want Canyon Lake to be left out from all the other cities.
Okay.
This program. So long story short, there's not a whole lot of programs that we have out there for our community because we don't fall in that realm of low income. We did have a home repair program that was started years ago, even before I got here, and it wasn't really successful because of all the qualifications that required from the residents. Most of the time, they didn't even meet the requirements for the income because again, it's specific for just low income.
Okay.
Programs. So I hope that answers your question.
It does.
We've really struggled in past years to find ways to allocate this money. And so the fact that the county is willing to front us future years' allocations
Huge.
is great for a number of reasons. One, we don't have to come out of the general fund for this project,
Right.
but one of the other big pluses for staff anyway is that we don't have to, for the next 3 years, try to figure out how to spend this money, which can really only be used for very few things that are mostly, as Mike mentioned, related to kind of lower income services, which we don't have a lot of opportunity to do that here. So,
Councilwoman Dane, to further what Mike and our city manager is saying, when Councilwoman Castillo and I got elected, one of the biggest projects that we looked at was this particular fund, and we actually tried to give it to Helping Hands to try to look at the organization to see if we can allocate these funds. And that's why Mike is so diverse in it, because he looked at every possible outlet that we could to find a home for these funds. So when I hear you say that you allocated 3 years worth, I get really excited because I know how hard it was, at least in 18-19, when we were trying to figure out what to do with the dang thing.
It's honestly, it's nice to know that in the next 3 years I don't have
Yes.
to really worry so much.
And I don't
about
have to say that
CDBG.
word. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have anything?
Good job. Good job, Mike, because we have struggled in the years to get people to qualify. We've tried to do different things to help people with the applications, and it just hasn't been as successful as we'd like. This is perfect. It's going for a project that is, falls in the guidelines. And since they're front-loading it for us, or actually giving us a draw multiple years out, great, and good job.
Awesome.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If I might, I just wanted to, just a little bit more background too, because this is a big deal. For the last year and a half, we've been trying to rehabilitate a building that the city purchased as an investment. And, we just recently finished the roof portion of that project, which was a big deal. This is the other large component of that rehabilitation. And Mike has worked very hard over the last year and a half on this. Bill Blankenship, our economic development consultant, has worked very hard on this over the last year and a half. And, we brought on Gordian. We were excited about Gordian being able to find a contractor for us, and then that didn't work. And so it has really been a year and a half of a lot of hard work and having to get creative. And we're very excited that we're finally here, and in a way that doesn't cost our general fund a dime. So pretty exciting.
Kudos,
Yeah.
honestly, to the staff. Seriously, good job, y'all. What's up? I need to find out if there are any comment cards first. Seeing that there's none, I need a motion on resolution number 2021-72.
Motion.
Motion from Mayor Pro Tem Green. I need a second.
Second.
Second from Councilwoman Castillo. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, will you please give us a roll call vote?
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried to adopt resolution number 2021-72.
Thank you so much. For those of you out in space, we are on resolution number 8. For those of you who are following along, adoption of resolution number 2021-73, which is authorization of the city manager to execute an agreement with the County of Riverside to become an advanced life support, also known as ALS first responders. City manager, this is yours to introduce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually ask our fire chief, Jeff Latendresse, to make this presentation.
Chief, floor is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, congratulations
Thank
first
you.
off. Mayor Pro Tem also, City Council, City Staff, Jeff Latendresse, your Fire Chief. As you saw earlier this evening, we presented our fire department. Took a lot to get there. One of the major hurdles that was presented to us in getting the fire department and getting it ready to go for January 1st is being recognized by the county to be an ALS provider. To be an ALS provider, we need to understand how the system works a little bit. The state of California actually regulates emergency medical services throughout the entire state. They then develop what they call LEMSAs, or local emergency medical services agencies, essentially in each county. Riverside County controls the advanced life support and basic life support delivery in Riverside County. So for us to be able to provide paramedic advanced life support service, we need to have an agreement and be recognized through the County of Riverside and their subsidiary agency, the REMSA, which is the Riverside Emergency Medical Services Agency. Part of that process was submitting over a 300-page application to REMSA that outlined the qualifications of all of our personnel, that outlined our service delivery area with maps, that outlined the training and educational requirements of our command staff, that identified every piece of medical equipment that we carry, and we still have to go through an inventory with them. There are still other aspects of it, but we've completed the application process, and then we get into the agreement process after that. And so it was just a labor-intensive project to get every piece of document they wanted. We've gone back and forth. We continue to provide them with the needed documents that they're looking for. It's difficult. Calamasa obviously did it, but they didn't do it with an ALS provider. Starting a fire department from a ground up with ALS service, their system's really not set up to deal with us because our people, when we bring them on board as paramedics, typically you're given a grace period of 6 months to get all the required certifications. With us, because we were a brand new agency, we had to have all the certifications from day one. So just 2 weeks ago, we put on a special class for some of our paramedics so that they could finish the final hurdle and get the 5 mandated certifications that they needed in order for us to get through that hurdle of the application process. So with this done, and this will be hand carried to the REMSA office tomorrow morning by our city clerk. It will then be taken to the Board of Supervisors, so it will be on their agenda for the 14th, which is their last meeting before the end of the year, so that we will be able to begin operations with this agreement in place. So it's staff recommendation that you adopt Resolution 2021-73, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the County of Riverside to become an advanced life support ALS provider. That concludes my presentation, and I am available for any comments.
Thank you,
or
Chief.
questions.
Thank you so much. Any questions from our council members?
Good job.
Thank you.
Awesome job. We appreciate it. Any public comment cards, Madam Clerk?
No comments.
Okay. I do need a motion. This is for, if you're following along, this is for business item number 8, resolution number 2021-73.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion from Councilmember Welty. I need a
Second.
second. Second from Councilwoman Castillo. I need a roll call.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried to adopt resolution number 2021-73.
Perfect. Moving along to business item number 9. This is resolution number 2021-74, authorizing the city manager to enter into a professional service agreement with Dan Satter, is that correct? Satire, RN, to serve as the nurse educator for the city's fire department. City manager, I'll give it to you to give to the chief.
Thank you, Chief Lieutenant.
Thank you. Good evening again. I'm still here. As you saw again earlier this evening, part of the people that we recognized as part of our fire department team was our medical director, Doc Zeke Foster. Again, those are requirements that come from the state that the REMSA is looking for as part of our application to be an ALS provider. And another one of those positions is the nurse educator. We went out and actually spoke with Dr. Foster as to, do you have any suggestions that we could use? We actually tried to work with the nurse educator from the City of Murrieta Fire Department and try to have some economy of scales there and share the cost that way. Unfortunately, it's a full-time job when you have an agency that large for their nurse educator, and they didn't have the capacity to take us on. But they recommended Dan to our department. He works very closely currently in his role as a paramedic liaison nurse at Inland Valley Hospital, where, again, we take most of our patients with Dr. Foster, and they have an outstanding relationship. So in his role as our nurse educator, similar to what the doctor does, but on a much more intense personal scale, Dan will be looking at what we call our CQI, or Continuous Quality Improvement Program. So when we go on a call, we do our patient care reports. Each component, each medication, each rhythm and treatment modality that we give to those patients is analyzed and evaluated and compared to county protocols to verify that the procedures were done. But it's also not a punitive aspect of it. We're looking for those things to shout out, hey, look at this outstanding save or this great job on something like that. So they want to highlight the positives and coach and learn and mentor from the negative aspects of it. So the contract was budgeted in our budget for the fire department. We identified this back in March and April when we were going through the budget process. It's within the budget range, and we'll get about 10 to 15 hours a month out of Dan as a consultant, working with us, training with us, and coaching with us from the fire department. So it's staff recommendation that you adopt Resolution 2021-74, authorizing city manager to enter into a professional services agreement with Dan Satar, RN, to serve as a nurse educator for the city's fire department. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any comments.
Thank you,
Questions?
Chief. Any questions? Go ahead.
Excuse me, Chief. The nurse educator, are they going to be on-site with theirs, or everything going to be off-site?
It's going to be a little bit of both. He'll be conducting training activities here at the fire department, and he will be reviewing remotely information that's in our EPCR or image trend application.
Will he be doing any skills maintenance?
He will be doing that training with us, correct? Yes, sir.
Okay. And you project him being here 15 hours, 10 hours?
About 10 hours a month, we believe.
Okay. And are we and will that help the medics keep their CEs up?
It will help the medics keep their CEs up. We've also purchased Target Solutions.
Okay.
And so Target Solutions has an online package that we can get the majority of our CE continuing education hours through that. We don't want it just to be a computer online training program. We need to have interaction and instruction, and so that's where the nurse educator and the doctor come into play.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Any other questions? Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment cards on this item?
No comments.
Okay, I need a motion. This is for adoption resolution number 2021-77.
Motion.
I need a second. I got a motion from Mayor Pro Tem and a second from Councilwoman Castillo. I do need a roll call vote.
And point of clarification, this is for resolution number 2021-74.
It is. I don't
Thank
know
you.
why I would say such things like -77. This is for 2021-74. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried to adopt resolution number 2021-74.
All right, moving along. This is resolution, this is business item number 10, resolution adoption of resolution approving the fire department mutual aid agreement with various entities within Riverside County. Listed here are resolution number 2021-75. This is for the agreement with the city of Corona for mutual aid for fire protections and rescue services. Also is resolution number 2021-76. This is for an agreement with Pachanga Band of Indians for mutual aid for fire protection and rescue services. City Manager, to present this, before I have you do that, are we able to take up both of these resolutions as one item? Mr. City Attorney.
Yes, you may.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. City Manager. Passing it off one more time. Chief, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Last month, we
Chief,
brought...
do you want a chair? You're going to be there a while.
We're getting close.
Okay.
We're getting close.
Just let us know, okay?
I don't want to get too
I don't
comfortable
want to invite
up
you
here.
back up here, but you know I'll do that.
No, thank you. As you know, last month I brought before you 3 very similar agreements with the city of Murrieta, the city of Calimesa, and March Air Reserve Base. And what this is an agreement under State Master Mutual Aid where we provide to those agencies resources that they request, and they provide to us resources that we request. Mutual aid is voluntary. There is no cost for mutual aid for the first 12 hours, and mutual aid can be denied or declared not able, they're not able to do it because they don't have the resources. These agreements really are not necessary because under state law, under state master mutual aid, they are already in place. But if we have these written agreements in place ahead of time, it can help the process move quicker when they go through the administrative and the dispatch center. So we wanted to go through and work with our partner agencies out there, get their support, and put these mutual aid agreements in place. Before you tonight are agreements for the city of Corona and with the Pachanga Fire Department, Reservation Fire Department. I had mentioned in the staff report that I'm also working with the city of Riverside, the city of Hemet, and the Saboba Reservation Fire Department to try to finalize some agreements there. I did get an email from Michael Moore, the fire chief for Riverside, and I want to read it into the record so that we understand where we stand with the city of Riverside. Jeff, I consulted with my staff and we are not interested in taking this item into our city attorney's office for extensive review and then to our mayor and 7-person council for approval. That would take until February 2022 alone. I included my 2 deputy chiefs and administrative manager in this conversation to assure you if you ever need an engine, special piece of equipment, or specialty service, and this is underlined, we'll be there with a phone call. We are very engaged in California Master Mutual Aid, and we are there for you during any major emergency, including backfilling your stations. We have limited automatic aid agreements because they are a lot of work to process through our large and complex city. So why they don't want to formally agree with us, we have their full support that if we need to call the city of Riverside, that they will respond to our request as needed. So I'm very comfortable with that as we move forward. We're still going to be working with the city of Hemet. As I said earlier, there's a new fire chief in town. We have exchanged emails. We are starting to converse and good to get into those conversations. As this, I'm still trying to work through Saboba. Once those two are done, we will have mutual aid agreements with every fire department or commitments from every fire department in western Riverside County. So that's our ultimate goal. So really, these are no different than the ones we approved last month. It's our recommendation that you approve both Resolution 202175, 202176, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the city of Corona for mutual aid for fire protection and rescue services, and with the Pechanga Reservation Fire Department for mutual aid for fire protection and rescue services. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Councilmember Welty, do you have any questions?
I'm good.
Councilwoman Castillo?
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. I think that's very nice of Riverside to so boldly step forward in support of our fire department and our city, and I appreciate it.
Love it.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Thank you.
Councilwoman Day?
Nothing else.
I love this because it just shows all the work that's being done. So with that, I need a motion on the floor for 2021-75 along with 2021-76.
Motion.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem, Councilwoman Castillo on the second. I need a roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried to adopt resolutions number 2021-75 and 2021-76 with no public comments, excuse me.
You got me on that one. Thank you. Moving along, resolution number 11. This is business item number 11, resolution adoption of 2021-77. This is authorizing the city manager to execute an automatic aid agreement with Idlewild Fire Protection District for fire and emergency services. Mr. City Manager?
Good evening. So everything I just said in the previous agenda bill staff report is now going to be a little confusing because that was under mutual aid. And here's an agreement before you that's for automatic aid. Automatic aid is just what it indicates. It's automatic. There's no request that needs to be made. It's programmed into the CAD computer typically. It's typically with an agency that's contiguous on your borders or your boundaries. And so, our unit comes into yours, your unit comes into ours. There's no expectation between the city of Canyon Lake and the city of Idlewild that we will have an automatic aid agreement. But they asked that the language that be used in the agreement state that it was an automatic aid agreement. As you go through, and I may ask the city attorney to help me out here a little bit, as you go through and read the agreement that's behind it, it is written differently than the agreement we just approved with Corona and with Pechanga. But at the end of the day, it's us asking or them asking for a resource, us or them having the ability to deny that request. It's not an automatic programmed in CAD request. We both share the same dispatch center, which will be Paris, Riverside County, but they just like to use the term automatic. So it is a little bit different. Mr. City Attorney, is there anything more you want to try to add for me?
And I'm already getting weird looks from the Mayor Pro Tem. So let me start off by saying, as I'm sure the City Council is aware of, I am also General Counsel for the Idlewild Fire Protection District. They have a unique funding structure through the state of California. For that reason, whenever they enter into a agreement with another agency that would typically be a mutual aid agreement, they stylize it in the form of an automatic aid agreement. This is based off of legal advice that they received from their previous general counsel, advice that I have reviewed and I concur with.
Previous
counsel, Gresham Savage was their previous general counsel. I reviewed that advice. I concur with it. Fundamentally, the question is one of what is the actual terms of the agreement between the two agencies rather than what is the words at the top of it. And as the chief had discussed, this operates essentially as a mutual aid agreement between the two agencies. There will not be automatic dispatching between the two. You're not contiguous. In fact, there's something like 35 miles away. And so in all practicality, it will operate as a mutual aid agreement between the two agencies. I hope that sort of answers the questions that you were perhaps going to have on it. But if you have any other questions, happy to answer them.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Yes, I do. Matter of fact, I put a big question mark and I underlined it just because of distance and travel time. Because the term is very universally used in the fire service. And that term is like a definition. And in that definition, obviously, I don't need to tell you. So that's obviously a legal counsel gave them their fire protection district. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And so probably because of their funding mechanisms.
That's correct.
Some other unique things to their district.
Also correct.
They were advised to phrase their agreements as auto aid agreements, which really are or mutual aid agreements, which is confusing. Because if I was a fire service guy and looking at agreements, I would say, whoa, what's this one? But I got you, counsel. That's why
And I can assure you that they have entered into essentially the same agreement with numerous other jurisdictions in Riverside County. And they've operated essentially as mutual aid agreements would.
Okay. So in their agreement with the county of Riverside, or county of Riverside is the same?
Their agreement with the county of Riverside is also unique. For example, Calamasa and other cities that have started up their fire departments in recent years have what is stylized as an automatic aid agreement, but operates in practice like a mutual aid agreement.
But they do have, I'm sorry, sir, they do have with Riverside County CAL FIRE an automatic aid agreement that is a true automatic aid agreement.
Because they do have
are
a contiguous station up
Correct.
there.
Yes.
Or stations, more than one.
Correct.
And they've got reciprocal
They do.
exchange of equipment. So that makes sense in the term of auto aid. But I got it.
Fully understand.
I don't need to say anymore.
That's why I prefaced the presentation with just kind of forget everything I just kind of said, because this is in conflict with what I was saying, but it's the way that they needed it to have it done. The city attorney and I and the city manager looked over it. We were comfortable that it reads and works like a mutual aid agreement, and that's why we brought it forward here this evening. So it's staff's recommendation that we adopt Resolution 2021-77, authorizing the city manager to execute an automatic aid agreement with the Idlewild Fire Protection District for fire and emergency services. And that concludes my presentation, and we've already had some questions, but if you have any more.
Any
I am
other
available.
questions? Councilwoman Castillo, do you have any?
Nope.
Councilwoman Dane? And Mr. Welty?
No.
None. Cool. We are moving right along. Are there any comment cards on this?
No comments.
Okie dokie. I need a motion. This is for adoption of resolution number 2021-77.
Motion.
I got a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Second.
Second from Councilmember Welty. I do need a roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried to adopt resolution number 2021-77.
All right, we are doing it. Moving along. The chief's getting tired. This is business item number 12, resolution adoption of 2021-78, authorizing the city manager to execute an automatic aid agreement for fire and emergency service with the county of Riverside, CAL FIRE. City manager to introduce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a big one. Chief?
Okay, so forget everything we just talked about again about automatic aid agreements with Idlewild, because now we're going to go back to the true definition of an automatic aid agreement. So as you know, we've been working on this this process for some time. There's been a lot of dialogue back and forth between the two agencies. Chief Lonnie Olson is here this evening, and I'm sure he's available if we want to have any questions for him to explain anything from the process. But it's not all that the city had hoped for. We had hoped that we would be able to get a little bit more from an automatic aid agreement. When I started here as a fire chief, the interim fire chief in February, I was brought in under the impression that we were going to have like-for-like services. I believe in November, when you, as a council, made the decision to start your own fire department, you were led to believe from different individuals that if we provided an ALS engine company, that we would be able to receive the same level of services that we have been receiving the whole time. We have asked for that in our automatic aid agreement. We haven't been successful in that. We have asked if we could pay a fee for a second engine to come in, and at this point, that the county is not willing to move into that kind of an agreement with us. So what we have today is what we have before you, but remember, in all of these agreements we just talked about, there's two parts. There is the agreement, which is boilerplate language, that puts all the whereas and what's and all that kind of stuff for you, and then there's the meat and the potatoes in the operating plan. Once we have this first automatic aid agreement in place, the two agencies, any two agencies in any of these auto or mutual aid agreements we just came in there, they each have an operating plan behind it. The fire chiefs can meet and discuss and continue to work through and change between the two chiefs' approval the way that the automatic aid agreement works. So we hope to continue our dialogue, and our dialogue with Riverside County CAL FIRE has been nothing but professional. They have been there every step of the way. They have been our partners in this, and we have not had any difficulties really as we move this process along. It has taken longer than we thought. We had hoped we'd be here sooner, but we're here tonight. And just like with the REMSA agreement, the agreement will be signed by the council if approved this evening, taken by our city clerk to Paris headquarters for the fire department, signed by their fire chief and taken to the board of supervisors so it can be placed on the agenda for the December 14th Riverside County meeting, and it will be in place when we start operations on January 1st. So how does this automatic aid agreement really work? It requires each agency to cover their home dirt first. So we have currently Station 60, what will become Fire Station 1, on Vacation Drive in Canyon Lake. If a 911 call comes in for a single engine response anywhere in the city of Canyon Lake will be that unit responding to that incident, anywhere in the city. If a call comes in from 911 for a two-engine response, what's a two-engine response? A two-engine response could be a significant medical emergency like a full arrest, CPR in progress. That in the dispatch system, their CAD generates a response for two engines. So those two engines would be dispatched automatically. The two closest engines with no delay, no question whatsoever. If there's a significant car accident on Railroad Canyon Road, that's a two-engine response. And so engine 1 and probably engine 94 would be dispatched immediately to that traffic accident, regardless of who's closer, it's the two closest engines. If it's a structure fire, today we would get 5 engines, a ladder truck, and a chief. Well, under this agreement with Riverside County, our initial dispatch will be our engine, a county engine that's closest, so if it's on the east side, it'll be 5s. If it's out by the main gate, it will be 94s, whatever is the closest unit, and those will be the 2 initial units that are dispatched to that emergency. The first in-company officer, or the company officer that's going to assume command, has the ability to increase that response. That's going to be based on if when they're leaving the station, they've got a column of smoke showing from the fire station. They can get on the radio, use the proper terminology, and request additional resources under mutual aid. That's why we've been working on all these mutual aid agreements that are now in place and ready to go. So does that mean that that Idlewild engine we just talked about is our third engine into the incident? No, we already have mutual aid agreements also automatically. We don't have it formally, but Riverside County provides mutual aid. Some of those resources, if we wanted to get that full first alarm assignment, could come from Riverside County. In speaking with all the fire chiefs, and I went out there and I met with each of them, we had long discussions, you know, there's places we want to go with these agreements in the future. Corona doesn't really want to send their engine all the way up to Canyon Lake for a fire. It's going to take too long. But if we could get an engine, possibly from Riverside County Fire, to come closer to our station, and with our mutual aid agreement with Corona, have Corona cover that, we believe we're accomplishing the same thing. We're not there yet, but that's our goal and what some of the fire chiefs want to start working towards, because it's mutually beneficial, and we believe it's the right thing to do. But again, we're not there yet. So again, to try to clarify, we have one engine on automatic aid with Riverside County Fire. We will cover our own dirt, and they will cover their own dirt. Conversely, outside the gate, outside the north gate, if there's an accident or a structure fire or something along that way, we would be the second due engine out there. So our engine still has opportunity and potential, which is good for us. Mutual aid and automatic aid needs to be reciprocal. Each of us need to give and take. So we will have an area out there where if the closest engine for Riverside County isn't available, our engine one will go outside the city and respond to that aid. And it's all programmed in CAD. It's all automated. You don't have to ask anybody on the telephone, on the radio, or anything. It's all programmed and recommended by CAD and done automatically. So that concludes my presentation. It's staff recommendation that council approve resolution number 2021-78, authorizing the city manager to execute an automatic aid agreement for fire and emergency services with the County of Riverside CAL FIRE. Concludes my presentation, and I am available for any comments or questions that you may have.
Chief, before we get into the questions and comments from the entire council, I just have one little statistical question to ask you. Have we ran the numbers, and when you look at the call volume over the course of a year, how many times more than 2 engines are needed on a call in Canyon Lake?
I have not. We don't have access to that information as of yet. I believe if we asked, they could probably provide that for us, and I'm sure they would. But we don't have access to it. It would have to come from Riverside County Fire.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Councilwoman Castillo, do you have any questions?
I do, and if I can ask some leeway, I have 4 pages of comments.
The 3-minute will be extended to you. You can say
Maybe I'll take that chair.
You can.
You
It's not
can,
directed
Chief. Would
to
you
you.
like to sit down?
All right, I'm going to read this because I did not want to miss anything. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. I thought long and hard about keeping my comments to myself and simply voting on this issue, but I realized that would not be true to the community nor myself. These comments need to be said. I've been on this council for 3 years now, and when I ran for council, we were in the area of a negative $800,000 structural deficit. Through good financial decisions and a lot of changes, we righted that ship. I'm very proud of the work of this council, city staff, and the finance committee, such that we are able to say that. A primary way that we accomplished this was a deep dive into all existing contracts for services. We dramatically changed our contract with building and safety inspections and then changed that contract altogether. We dramatically cut the contract for city attorney services. Sorry. We've gone in-house when it made better financial sense, and we've gone outside when it made better financial sense. Canyon Lake's financial picture has definitely improved. Change is hard and often not welcome because it is uncomfortable, but we made it happen, and I believe Canyon Lake is so much better off for it. With these reassessments came a hard look at the contract with the county for fire services. Canyon Lake had looked at it before, repeatedly even, because it was clear that it was a problem financially. Great service, good people, but a problem financially. The budgeting for this contract tied up money that could be used for other services, such as hiring another sheriff's deputy. When we started looking at the fire contract again and hired another consulting company to do a complete study, not just the cursory one they did previously, we got mixed reactions. Some Canyon Lakers were for it and some were not. I'm not going to rehash that year-long process, but once we committed to our own fire department, there was obviously much to do. A primary concern of residents that I personally spoke with was that we would receive the same level of service that we previously had through the contract with the county. I am confident in my belief that the city of Canyon Lake has put in 100% effort into accomplishing that. And so here are my comments. I am very disappointed with the county and ultimately how county decisions could impact Canyon Lakers, and here are the reasons. The decision to start our own department was initially very well received and encouraged by the county to include our county supervisor. You can do it. You should do it. The county will help you. Well, that appears to be in stark contrast to where we landed. An acceptable auto aid agreement with the county, given our contiguous borders, has always been at the forefront of this council's mind, the city manager's mind, the fire chief's mind. There were meetings and meetings and meetings and emails and emails and emails and phone calls and phone calls. The county did not send this proposed auto aid agreement over until the 11th hour. You cannot tell me that was not purposeful. Time is everything, and the operating plan that was hammered out at the end of November when it was sent over to now, which has to be approved now to go to the Board of Supervisors tomorrow, is by design. Someone explained to me how it was not specifically intended to not provide additional time to negotiate the terms and conditions. When you look at Exhibit B of the auto aid agreement, you see that Canyon Lake has a larger area to respond to than the county does as part of this, and we are willing to do that. This auto aid agreement is like for like and one for one. Some constituents are not happy with that ratio. I believe that to date, we have done everything we can to adjust that. The city has, in no uncertain terms, told the county that we would sign an agreement where we would pay for additional auto aid over and above the one for one, meaning we would get an invoice after services were rendered and we would sign a check. Can someone, because no one has been able to, please explain to me why the City of Canyon Lake's money is good when we pay in advance for services, but not after an event? There is literally no change in how resources would be dispatched, except to say that Canyon Lake is going to cover Canyon Lake. So actually, we freed up some of the county resources and are specifically willing to pay for services rendered. An example of this is the trailer fire. I was told that it would have been at least a $100,000 price tag had we done it this way. Could have been more, could have been less. My response is, okay, I'm on the finance committee. I will sign that check all day long. What feels like, what this looks like, is a money grab. Our money is only good on retainer, but not after the fact. We pay RSO invoices this way after an event where we need additional resources. So what is the difference? The response I received to that question was, it's complicated. My question is how? In my opinion, this is monopolistic behavior. Canyon Lake appreciates local control. We have attempted to negotiate our original contract with the county without success. We were told it was because they had to negotiate with Sacramento and there was no movement. But now it appears we're facing the same issue with our own county leaders. Sorry. On to this agreement. I have had multiple long conversations with residents who are fire personnel who live in Canyon Lake, and they have told me that they don't care who has the contract as long as the service is the same. When asked to clarify what that meant to them, it was 1, the same available resources, and 2, the closest engine to respond. So the same available resources. We have offered to pay for the same available resources. The county, without explanation, has said no. The closest engine. So to some, that means if you live on Continental, then it's Station 94. But that is not always what it means. What we are really discussing is potentially the closest. We have had engines from outside Canyon Lake respond to medical events near the North Gate, specifically on Appaloosa. That is not the closest fire station, but Engine 60 was outside our gates on something else. So the closest engine really means the closest engine that's available, not the closest fire station. I have been asked by firefighters who live in this community not to sign this auto aid agreement if it is not the exact same operating agreement as with CAL FIRE. That seems really counterintuitive to me because we need an auto aid agreement in place. Is this the auto aid agreement that I want? It is not. I don't believe it's done because I think the operating plan will continue to develop. Maybe Canyon Lake has to prove itself as a like-for-like agency. You have all seen the stellar hires who were sworn in tonight, and I know that this fire agency is going to be as legitimate as any other. But the county is literally saying that because we want to pay for services rendered rather than services that might happen, we can't be on the team. That is crazy. We are adding jobs, we are adding additional firefighter and paramedic resources to the region. We are like for like on experience and staffing so we can be good regional partners. When you look at this exhibit, you will see that the auto aid agreement, the Canyon Lake response area is actually bigger than the response area for the outside aid coming in. We are not seceding from the county. My property tax dollars still go towards county operation, county administrative costs to include our county fire department, and so do yours. We still live in Riverside County, right? Acting like we don't is totally insincere, and willingness to be a good regional partner is unreasonable. No one is asking for a free ride. We are asking for a partnership that works for everyone. I'm extremely disappointed in county leadership for not forcing their contract service vendor to operate exactly the same when needed, but invoice differently. As I mentioned, I have spoken with numerous firefighter personnel in this community about what they'd like to see. We are on the same page with what we'd like to see. I'm going to vote for this auto aid agreement, not because I think it is perfect, but because I think it is a work in progress and Canyon Lakers cannot have one not in place. But I would implore Canyon Lakers to also reach out to county executives and ask why they are taking the position, if we are willing to pay for auto aid response, that it is just not possible.
Thank you, Councilwoman. That is a great timeline of exactly what we have gone through from the very beginning to now. I have a lot to say on this issue, but I do want to allow my colleagues to speak. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have anything you would like to say?
I think, Councilman, we have, obviously, I've worked on this project for quite a while, long before you were hired, and a lot of things have transpired. I do find it difficult that a reasonable associated response fee could be generated. It is done in other counties, for specialized equipment as well as other equipment. Hopefully, with the operational plan, we can work out some of these details. I think it's a living document. It's not static. I do have some concerns on once you get past your second engine from your dispatch center, you don't have a continuous FSO, which is a fire station order, which is a term that's used and it means that the next, so you're going to have to go outside that system and probably request single unit increments or increments that are typed, meaning all the same, or specialized equipment like a ladder truck or rescue or whatever, which makes dispatching very complicated because now they have to, instead of having a block of responses like a first alarm, a second alarm, which has certain pieces of equipment in it and certain chief officers, it complicates the system for the field officer who has to now add more to that tool book of his to be able to get the resources that he needs. I'm not even equating the response times in, because now when you flip out of auto aid into mutual aid, we're at the discretion of the operational area, depending on what is available in the area. And it is, if you're unavailable, you're unavailable. That is mutual aid. That is the state system that is designed that way, period. So I will be very encouraged to work with the operational plan, because we are going to show that we are a mark on the map. We are in Riverside County. We are a player, because one of the concerns that the county had when we first had is we were going to do a model that is totally different than what they currently provide. No ALS, BLS, a mixture of staffing, no 3-0 staffing, maybe 2-0 staffing, or whatever. We addressed all those concerns and went forward with all of the things that mirror what we currently are providing. And yet, at the end, what we had been told by powers to be did not come about. We do have an agreement, and I'm going to vote for that agreement with the intent that the operational plan be continued to be stressed, whether it's through the county fire chiefs or whatever, because I don't believe Canyon Lake should be singled out just because we've started our own department. I understand there are dynamics in politics, and there are concerns based on whether you can provide the service or not, but I think we need to really, really have a stronger operational plan. So with that, that's my comments.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Green. Council Member Dane, do you have anything?
Nothing very different than what my other fellow council members have said, but
Absolutely.
I appreciate all the work that you've done on this. It is disappointing that we were promised something that we didn't get from the county. But again, it's a work in progress, so we continue to work on the plan.
Thank you. Councilmember Welty?
There's some things that make me feel really positive about tonight and about where we're going. One is the mutual aid agreements that other communities stepped up with. I think that was very, very helpful for us. Second thing I thought that was very helpful was Riverside stepping up. I thought their commitment, the verbal commitment to our community was really pretty overwhelming. They are one of the big players, and they have a lot of equipment that can help us, and they're not really that far away. The third thing that I'm probably the most pleased about is seeing the men that stepped up here tonight and got their badges. As I watched them, I felt, these are the guys I want coming to my house in times of trouble. And no matter what machines you have, or no matter what organization you have, it's those 8 guys or 10 guys on the ground that are knocking on your door that count. And I think these guys are great, and I just got to appreciate your selection process and who you got.
Thank you. Chief, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for the hard work from the very beginning. Our city manager came up with a plan, a vision to reach out to our fellow community members and be a part of the process from the very beginning. And Chief, you were there. You saw that interview panel. We had Marietta there. We had Lake Elsinore there. Menifee wanted to be there, but there was a scheduling conflict. We had the county there. It was pretty impressive to see the approach that this city took to be regional partners. We were told to develop a program that is like for like, that is ALS, not BLS, and we did just that. And I want to thank my colleague, Councilwoman Castillo, for laying out exactly what has gone down and the hard work that this staff, this council has done to get where we are today. Some in the community have questioned this exact auto aid agreement, and we don't blame them one bit. We've been completely transparent from the very beginning. We've had nothing to hide. We've met with many stakeholders in the community, and I want to applaud each and every one of you for all the hard work that you have done, but more importantly, the transparency that the staff has done along with my colleagues. It has been clear and said tonight that this is not the auto aid agreement that we wanted, nor that we were promised. But nonetheless, it's an auto aid agreement that I truly believe will improve. And I truly believe that there's still more work to be done. And, you know, Chief, you're just getting started, my friend, because what you've been able to do in the last 10, 11 months has been absolutely incredible. And especially with the roller coaster of events that we've had to do. So I just want to say thank you. I want to say thanks again to the staff and to my colleagues. If there are no further comments, questions, I'm going to ask the clerk if there's been any comments on this that she would like to read. No comments. None whatsoever.
No comments. No email comments, nothing tonight.
Wow. All right. Going once, going twice. Anything else? City Manager, would you like to say anything?
Just kind of to echo what has been said, early on in the process when the city was evaluating options, the members of the council that would eventually become the Fire Ad Hoc Committee and myself had a series of meetings. And we met with our county supervisor. We had multiple conversations with our county supervisor. We met with county CEO before he was the county CEO, when he was in the number 2 position in charge of public safety. In fact, he sat on the selection panel for our interim fire chief. And we had a whole list of questions and things that we knew that we would need help from the county on if we were to pull the trigger. And we knew that before the decision was made to pull the trigger or not, that we'd have to have answers to those questions, and we'd have to feel pretty confident that we would have the support in those areas. And the number one thing at the top of that list was the auto aid agreement. And we said, look, what is it going to take so that in auto aid the response doesn't change, that it looks the way that it does today? And we were told very clearly that so long as you maintain 3.0 staffing and as long as you provide ALS, nothing will change. Somewhere along the way, they changed their mind. And I have to hand it to Chief Latendresse. When he took the interim fire chief job, he took that job under the assumption that that would be the case. And he's had to pivot. We've all had to pivot. And now he has a task ahead of him to take this group that he has pulled together, which is a very impressive group, I must say, and to make this work. And I know that he has some good ideas of how to do that. We've discussed those ideas, creative ways to make sure that our response times are as short as they possibly can be. I am confident that this department will be able to provide a phenomenal level of service, that we will do better than Riverside County's countywide, average response times. But there will be challenges, and we will grow this department. I hope that we can continue the conversations with the county to improve this agreement. I think we will. As with everything, there's a lot of politics involved. Change is coming politically. It may take a little bit of political change to get this agreement where we need it to be ultimately. But in the meantime, I have every faith in Chief Latendresse and in the personnel that have come on board, and I think this community is going to be very happy with this department.
Can I ask a question before
Absolutely.
you do the motion? Do other communities pay for automatic aid?
No, automatic aid typically is not, typically not dollar amounts assigned to it. That was kind of an outside of the box idea that has been done in other places. To my knowledge, it's not done in Riverside County. But that idea was broached with the county's fire chief Weiser, with this council, and frankly, it seemed to me that it was a concept he hadn't really thought about in terms of our agreement. And at the time, he said, "Well, we can look at that. We can think about that."
Because you can literally figure out how many people are staffed, how much resources are being used, right? I mean, it's
Well, sure. I mean, as you pointed out, Councilwoman, it's not dissimilar from how we're invoiced, from the county for our police services to the sheriff's department when there is an event that requires additional personnel over and above what we typically pay for in our contract. If there's a large event and additional deputies are needed, we get invoiced for those additional hours and those additional services. So you would think it would be possible?
the same.
Yeah. Like we've all said, we hope that we can improve this agreement over time. In the meantime, we're going to have a phenomenal department, and we're going to serve the community well.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Yeah, just to add a couple comments. There is cost recovery mechanisms in place for response, which I know Riverside probably hasn't done it yet, but probably will in the future. But I will tell you the county of Orange, where I came out of, it was very common for fee. Now, remember the resources there are different than the county. Well, most of the resources, what the fire authority now, it's a little different. But specialized pieces of equipment, there's a fee for response fees. So there is a fee in place, and there's another term for it. And I think it's called for hire. I can't.
Assistance for hire.
Assistance for hire. So it is doable. Is it a contemporary thing that's done here? The answer is no. We would probably be one of the first in the county that would probably approach that and maybe work with how the schedule could be set. But is it doable? Absolutely. It doesn't change any of the structure that is in place. Actually, it makes the communications and the comm center much easier for them instead of using outside resources to go to the operational area. So it just is another area that needs to be explored.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, one last thing. The auto aid agreement has been probably the most challenging aspect of putting this department together. But I don't want us to lose sight of all the positive. And even, in terms of our dealings with the county, this has been a challenging issue. But in really all other ways, the county has been very supportive and helpful. Chief Weiser has been phenomenal to work with. County Executive Office has been very supportive and helpful in many other ways, too. I don't want to give the impression that we're getting pushback from the county or that the county has not been cooperative, because that's just not the case. They have been extremely helpful. Chief Olson, who's in the audience this evening, came on the past few months and has been extremely helpful working with Chief Latendresse, and we're very appreciative. So there's been a lot of positive. The personnel we've been dealing with in the county have been very professional. I think this is the auto aid agreement specifically has, I believe, become politicized.
Right.
And I think that has been, we have a neighbor who is not pleased, has not been pleased with the situation, even under our contract with the county. They're really not pleased now that we're going off on our own. I think political pressure was applied there to the county. It just became political, I believe. And so we're going to have to find a political solution to that. But I don't want to give the impression that the relationship with the county overall is bad, because it's not, and our dealings with the personnel there have been quite positive.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. And I think Councilwoman Castillo, her comments were right on point, and this was before, the new chief, and this was before, the new leadership that we have now. And you're right, it's been serving on the ad hoc committee with Mayor Pro Tem Green. The county's been absolutely phenomenal when it comes to getting through some of these items. This was just the one that we knew would hurt a little bit, and we knew was going to be our problem child when you look at the big scheme of things. But like the city manager said, I don't want to end on that. I want to end on a positive note when we're looking at this, because the amount of sheer work that has been done by the chief and this team is unbelievable. And I want to say this, because Council Member Welty and I were having this conversation. The men and women that was hired for our department is unbelievable. And we were told that we were not going to get such applicants. And we were told that we were probably not going to get paramedics. But being on the inside and seeing just the amount of people that applied for this startup department is staggering and is unbelievable. And I say kudos to you, Chief, and kudos to the team. And I'm excited to see the hard work that's going to come from this department. And I'm excited that we just extended our family. We've made ourselves larger. And it's going to be a good time for Canyon Lake. So with that, I do need a motion on this item.
Motion.
For clarification, Madam Clerk, this is a motion for resolution number 2021-78. I got a motion on the floor from Mayor Pro Tem Green. I do need a second.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Welty has seconded it. I need a roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried to adopt resolution number 2021-78.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. If you haven't done enough yet, Chief, we need you for one more. That's business item 13, which is our fire department startup update. Take it away.
In case you haven't heard, I've been busy. We've been starting a fire department. That's our standard joke around here, but there are 26 days left. It's incredible. On the screen is the latest look last week of what our fire engine's going to look like.
Wow.
Tomorrow, at about 4 o'clock in the morning, I get to wake up and go out to the airport and fly to Wisconsin and do the final inspection on the fire engine.
Ontario or LAX?
San Diego.
Okay, that's fine.
So I will be back Thursday in time for the State of the City, so it's a very quick trip. Looks
Are
like
they wheeling it back, or are they going to transport it back?
So they do like to drive them back. They're brand-new motors. It's a Detroit diesel in there, and so they want to get some engine hours on it and break it in a little bit. So by the time it'll get here, it'll have about 2,500 miles on it. They don't let us take them back anymore, the firefighters. They pay a driver to do it. But, it's just an incredible engine.
Yeah.
Accident happened, and it was a dumb-off as to who is responsible and who's going to pay for it. So, but pretty impressive. And if you excuse, this one's a little bit further behind. This is the Type 6. The body was not painted when we last saw it. I told you the story about the doors. The door person from Canyon Lake saved about 6 weeks in getting our engine here quicker. Wow. Just a random phone call. It's like, I can get you doors. And we were waiting for another vendor, and it was
Leave
just
it to
amazing.
Canyon Lake.
So that is now projected to arrive in the second to third week of January. So a little bit behind. But again, that's our kind of wildland backup apparatus, so it's not as critical. And as we're talking about county fire, Chief Olson here tonight, he and I had conversations today on the Board of Supervisors agenda for today, I think it was the 7th, right? Tomorrow, is an item for the county to release Engine 60 from active service with county fire. They're going to take it to their shop, take off their identifiers and so forth, and they're going to turn it over to us as long as we can get our insurance issues resolved, which I talked to our vendor tonight, and we don't appear to have any issues with that. And that engine will be our training engine starting on December 15th. So again, another area that County Fire has been extremely gracious with providing us that apparatus. All the equipment on that apparatus, the radios on those apparatus, the breathing apparatus, the medical supplies, everything is coming with the engine. They've been most gracious. I'm sorry?
Are we going to be able to house it still in the station until the cutover?
We have a plan that we're working on so that we can have it secured and available. You know, we're going to be training with it every day. We're going to be coming in and coming out. And we don't want to interrupt their life there at the fire station. So I think we've got a plan that'll work. It'll keep the engine secured, and it will be readily available for us. So what's happened in the last month? Well, we met an incredible person, and you all had an opportunity to meet him tonight. Chief Michael Samuels. The guy is amazing. He is truly an amazing individual. He is known and respected here in Riverside County, has contacts and connections with just about every fire agency. In our training academy that's going on right now, we're going to be doing live fire training in the city of Corona, thanks to his connections. We're going to be going to the Corona Training Tower for 2 days, thanks to his connections. And you know what? They're probably not even going to charge us. We'll have to pay for the lumber that we burn, and that's going to be the whole cost of it. Our contacts and our relationships with the Murrieta Fire Department, outstanding. Last week, we were getting ready with our captains to start working on some stuff, and they go, you know what? This whole REMSA application, we've got to do our skills test, our protocols test, and some of the guys were like nervous. They're panicked. We called up Murrieta Fire Department and said, hey, can we get a training day with you and work with all your training props and your mannequins and your IV solutions, go through the protocols, practice the skills, because we don't have that equipment yet. We haven't been able to purchase it. They've got it all down there. They said, without question, come on down. We notified all of the firefighters that haven't started. All but one firefighter on a 5 o'clock email was able to make it down there to show their commitment and their desire to be prepared so that they can ace that process of getting their REMSA accreditation tomorrow. They're going to be at Murrieta tomorrow for their testing.
Nice.
Murrieta is also allowing us to go down there for 2 days and use their training tower. So, you know, when we don't have those resources, those relationships that we have built over time by some of the people that we have hired are paying dividends for us already. And we know that we have to repay it any way that we can. And it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but we are committed that we will show our appreciation for what they have done for us. Chief Samuels, again, I have almost, and it was required because I'm going to Wisconsin, handed off the training academy to him to deal with that so I can finish on all those other administrative processes that need to be done to get the fire department up and running here in the next 26 days. What's in that training orientation academy? There's going to be over 200 hours of instruction, live fire training, ventilation training, self-contained breathing apparatus, search and rescue training, RIT training, which is rapid intervention team training, fire engine operations. You know, they've got to get comfortable with the engine 60, which will be our engine 201, and we hope to have our engine available for training maybe on the 21st. It looks like it's a day we're kind of targeting. Forcible entry, ropes and knots, ladders, attack and supply hose training, auto extrication. We've got 4 cars lined up at an auto repair yard in Paris. Dispatch and communications. Talked to Chief Olson tonight. We're going to be able to get our people through their dispatch center so we can understand the dispatching process and in there and how it works and what the different call types are and and the verbiage and the way we need to communicate when we're requesting those mutual aid and automatic aid resources. Policies and procedures, incident command and operations, area familiarization. The Water District is taking us on a tour of the treatment plant and the dam, and then we're going on a boat tour of the lake. We were able to work with our code enforcement personnel and got all of our captains in the four-wheel drive vehicles out into the 3 sections of the BLM land. Mutual and automatic aid training, our new equipment, helicopter operations. We'll be landing a helicopter at the Eastport parking lot on Wednesday. City onboarding was pretty much what they did today. Retirement programs, health insurance, medical insurance, 457 plans. We had all those vendors come in and work with them, and wildland operations. So we have a lot going on and a lot of training that we'll be doing in this next month. We continue to work on the department policy manual. I was at the last Disaster Preparedness Committee meeting, and so we're working on how we're going to work with that group into the future. We finalized all of our workers' compensation agreements that we needed to get in place before our personnel started. As you saw tonight, we finalized all of our remaining operational mutual aid and automatic aid agreements, with the exception of Hemet and Soboba. We finalized the station remodel project. And again, another nugget that came out of this was our deputy building official taking that project on and getting it off of my desk so that it can continue to move forward. We're attending the Riverside County Fire Chiefs Association meetings now. We've ordered furniture for the offices and had to design furniture. We've going to revamp the phone system at the fire station. We're going to bring fiber in. We're going to get rid of 3 different vendors that we're using now, consolidate into one vendor, and we're going to save $100 a month in our internet, phone, and cable TV bills. We've passed, I counted them, over 30 resolutions since we started this project in February. We completed the background checks and the medical process, not just for our full-time firefighters, but there are 14 reserve firefighters waiting in the wings right now. We have to get our personnel up to speed and trained, and then we're going to bring them on board in January. We're going to permit them to start doing what we call ride-alongs in January, on January 1st. So we have that fourth on an engine. They won't be doing anything but observing our procedures, training with us, and understanding everything, because they haven't gone through our orientation and training academy for them, because we got to get these guys you met tonight up to speed first. But they're out there waiting, and they'll be in uniform, and they're going to look just as good as everybody else. We finalized our agreement with Rumza tonight. We talked about the engines, their timeline for it. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but before I walked down here this night, I went and looked online. It's an online program who we bought our vehicles, our command vehicles for. And it has the different components of where it's at in the assembly process. It said our vehicles were assembled and en route to the distribution facility. That could be great news for us, because last we heard they were coming in May. If they're already built and they're past the assembly icon and moving to the distribution place, I want to be real optimistic and hope that those things are going to be here quicker, because that's one of those hurdles that are still out there for us. If you walked up to the old library upstairs, you would be amazed with the amount of equipment up there, but it's full and packed. And our new firefighters that are coming on board, it's like, wow, look at all this new stuff. You know, it's amazing. Everything that they have on that engine is going to be out of a box, brand new, waiting for them to get it dirty. We heard back from our turnouts, our personal protective equipment. Those should be here the week of December 13th before we go to the live fire training, which is good, because we were going to have to wear little plastic helmets if we didn't get that stuff in. As we look at what's still outstanding, there is nothing outstanding that will stop us from going live on January 1st. We made 2 hurdles tonight. Those were the 2 big last hurdles with the REMSA agreement and the automatic aid agreement. We're going to be before the Board of Supervisors on the 14th. The equipment is coming in, the training are coming in, the personnel are here, they're in uniforms, the safety gear is coming. I'm just amazed. I watched the group the other day when they were in Murrieta and today, and Chief City Manager makes a joke, I said meshing instead of meshing, but they're coming together like a team. Before they started, we shared their emails with them and said, here's who you're going to be working with. They reached out to each other and went and played golf. They're getting together. They're meeting with wives and spouses. We had, I think, 5 of them at the Winter Wonderland.
Yeah, it was cool.
They're engaged in the community. They want to be part of the community. Their families and their kids were excited here. We want to welcome those families into our fire stations and have Christmas and Thanksgiving in the fire family with their families. You know, they're going to be a close, tight-knit group of people. I can't say enough for the city staff that helped us get here. This wasn't a single person's job. Every person, every employee of this small city has done so much to assist me. If I needed something, they would drop what they were doing and they would be there and they would help me out. If it's creating a PO for a new vendor that I got to pay for something right away, if it's helping me write a resolution and getting it done on time, if it's trying to get an agreement so that we have a fee schedule that we can start on January 1st. It's training Bailey how to work the permit program so on July 3rd we can start accepting permits into the fire department. Our code enforcement individuals have been amazing, all 3 of them. Their knowledge, their expertise they're the ones taking us out in the orientation out into the communities. I can't thank them enough for all they do. I'll never be able to show my appreciation, but I appreciate all their work, all the work of city staff, city attorney. If you see those bills, some of them are probably my fault, because I've had a lot of questions, and so he's helping me go through it. And finally, former Mayor Castillo, your leadership during this year that I have been here, you kept everybody together, you kept the focus on what we were trying to do, and we're here. And this is the last time I'm going to get to see you before, but it's going to happen. It is going to happen on January 1st. And we thank you for your boldness, your commitment. We are the instruments of the policies that you make, and we're going to make you proud. We are going to make you proud. We are building a culture, the city manager saw it today. We are going to build a culture of these individuals that is going to be an incredible place to work, an incredible place to live. It's going to be a little bit of paradise. It really is. So with that, I get to leave at 4 o'clock in the morning for the airport. So I've been long-winded enough, I think. Thank you for putting up with our badge pinning. But it was important for them to see the commitment of you. And I'm available for any questions.
Love it. Thank you, Chief. Do we have any questions?
What are the over/under on odds that all the firefighters move to Canyon Lake?
Oh, all of them? I don't. I can tell you, though, that we have 2 living here today. We have a lot in the valley. We have some from, I'll say the people from Oceanside are, yeah, if we can make this work. But I would say the Costa Mesa one's probably not going to relocate here. But I think when they get into the community and they find how exciting it was, you know, I got to be kind of in the way of the golf cart parade last night. And when I finally get that golf cart, I'm going to have my work cut out for me because someone had a ladder truck out there.
We saw it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's awesome.
So that was pretty incredible.
Pretty epic.
Pretty incredible. And even if they don't move here, they are committed. It's funny, Chief Samuels, his in-laws live here. You know, so a lot of them have connections and friends of people who are part of the community.
I love it. Any other questions, comments? Everyone else good? Thank you, Chief. Appreciate
Thank you.
you.
So much.
Phenomenal report. This is so exciting. All right, this is just a receive and file, so we're moving on to city manager comments.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Just a few quick things. We're looking forward to our State of the City event Thursday night, starting at 5 o'clock. We, I believe, are completely sold out. We have probably over 160 reservations now, so it's been well received. It's going to be a great event. On the consent calendar this evening, was, first time we've done this. We put together a calendar for the whole year, all the city council meetings, all the events. I think there's one event we still have to nail a date down for. So please take a look at that. Make sure that those dates are on your calendars. There are a few council meetings that are not at their normal date. For example, January, the meeting will be on the 13th. Which is actually usual for us. Usually the first meeting in January is a week behind. Same thing in February. So take a look at that. January 1st, 8 o'clock a.m., Canyon Lake Fire Department goes into service. That will not be a public event. Our personnel have a lot to do when they go into that station to get things organized. But we will be having a public event at some point in February. We'll put a date together for that. We'll have a ribbon cutting and have a big to-do to celebrate. Lastly, just a reminder that every January at our council meeting, we talk about and set goals for the coming year. So please start thinking about the things that you'd like to discuss and as potential goals for 2022. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, moving right along, we're now looking at council member comments. We don't have to remind each of us to at least take up 3 minutes. It's been a long night. I'm going to start off with council member Dane.
I didn't think I was going to be first.
I know, I'm mixing it up.
Mixing it up.
I was told I can do that, so you better stay on your toes.
So it's been in the last few weeks, we've had a lot of city events. Really happy about the Winter Wonderland event and appreciate all of the work that went into it. Before that, we had the tree lighting at the POA first, and appreciate the Fire Station 60 bringing in Santa for the kids. That was really nice. And the golf cart parade was awesome to see so many people. It seemed like there were more people than ever on the parade route, and it was a very fun event to be part of. And I'm looking forward to next year being able to do more on some committees, and looking forward to the new year.
I love it. Councilmember Welty, you're up.
Okay, roundtable meeting, we have that every month, just with the sheriff, the fire, POA, EVMWD, and the city all have a meeting. I think one of the big themes of that particular meeting was that we need to have another joint meeting with EVMWD, the city of POA. I think we're looking into the spring, so hopefully somewhere in April, March, April, we'll get together. I think the last one was really great. We would have had more, of course, but we got the COVID interruption. So I'd make sure we put that kind of on our list to move ahead with. Vector Control would like to have the opportunity to do some sort of presentation for the city. I'll work on that. Maybe the POA might be a more effective venue. They have a little more space, that kind of thing. So we'll look into that. Leisurewood went dark, so nothing there. And I'm looking forward to working on WRCOG. So I thank the rest of the council for supporting me in that. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to next year.
Thank you, Councilmember Welty. Councilwoman Castillo.
Thank you. I want to say I enjoyed my time on WRCOG, and I'm happy and excited that Councilmember Welty will get the opportunity to do that. Congratulations to Mayor Smith and Mayor Pro Tem Green. You guys will be amazing. I'm very, very excited to see what the year will bring. I wanted to say thank you all to the city staff, to CAL FIRE, and to RSO for your Winter Wonderland preparation and participation. The feedback I received was great, and my family truly enjoyed it. I also wanted to take the opportunity, if you don't mind, to thank the Family Matters Club for their time and energy into the event. And those volunteers were Terry and Kaylin Sullivan, Kathleen Ailes, Judy Carroll, Mike and Betty Sims, Brian and Kathy Wood, Karen Bevins, Larry Marr and Shauna Bowen, Jeannie and James Hooneran, Donna Lovejoy, Perry Beggs, Karen Wallace, Brad Morton, Donna Kupke, And then Breton, Grant, Kayla, Riley, Trey, Caitlin, and Jenna. So thank you all for your time. The cookie station was awesome.
Yes.
And then honestly, again, thank you for the kind words. For my time as mayor, I truly enjoyed it. And I am hoping that somewhere up in heaven, my predecessor is smiling down. So thank you again.
Thank you, Councilwoman Castillo. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Wow, it's a new year almost. But just in reflecting back on what we've accomplished this year, I think this council and staff and city ought to take a step back and realize some of the major things that we've taken on and that we brought conclusion to, or we followed it through or we're about ready to launch. And I think if you look at, a lot of times when you look at the effectiveness of an operation or a team or a management team, it's not so much the processing they do, it's the outcomes. And I think you measure everything by how effective your outcomes are. And so I did some reflecting back on the things that we talked about at the beginning of the year, how we've navigated through financial planning, future planning of our city in another 20 years, what we would look like, and to the point of looking at what our potential is for our city as a growth. And I think this council, and I'm not reflecting negative on the other councils, have really tried to step into the 21st century from management concepts, financial concepts, and looking at everything from a different lens to make sure that we are moving in the best interest of the community of Canyon Lake, because we are all a community. We've had some great events that have occurred over this last month. I happened to be party to a fundraiser for cancer patients here in Canyon Lake. They raised over $7,000 in one morning and afternoon just for local cancer patients that will be distributed through different organizations. The events that we hosted here at the city and that we are hosting have been extremely successful and well received, positive comments. That doesn't happen by just because we just do it. It happens because of the people's dedication, following through, and making sure that what we do is quality. Because I think a lot of times we would do something and it kind of looked like, yeah, we're doing it, but it's really not full-hearted. So I just would like to say I'm very proud to be part of this council. I'm very proud to be part of the team. But I'm one member, and we're all team members from our staff, because without the staff, we would not be effective. And so my other council assignments this month were dark, so I can spend my 3 minutes talking about this. And I've really appreciated, Casey, again, you as mayor, because you have brought forth a positive and a shining face to our community and represented our city very well. And I hope that my turn, if I get there, I know Jeremy will, that I will be equal to what you've set as the benchmark. So thank you to all.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm going to do what I don't ever do, and if anyone out there wants to hear about SCAG, RTA, RCTC, you can come find me, but I'm going to use this time to talk about our beloved former Mayor Castillo and just the dedication, time, energy, and effort that you've put into this council over the last year. I meant what I said earlier, but I do truly believe that you've put this council kind of on notice, because it's never been done before, but we're finally engaging with the community on a level that we've never done. And that's because of your perseverance. And I'm sick of my wife constantly calling me and saying, how did Casey get to that comment before you did in all hours of the night, no matter what time it is? Because Casey knows, and I'm going to make this more personal and call you by your first name, but Casey and I, we get tagged in everything, and she's on it. And she's really set, like Mayor Pro Tem Green had said, a new precedent for what this council looks like moving forward and the work that is needed for us to continue to be transparent in the community, continue to listen to the pulse of the community, and to create policies that our community wants us to do. So I have the biggest shoes that I could possibly have to fill, and I'm just blessed that I still get to serve next to you. I still get to mentor from you. And we are tremendously blessed for all the work that you've done last year. And I'm excited at the direction of the community where we're headed because of that leadership. And with that, it's been a long night. I'm going to close out the meeting. The next one is going to be January 12th. Closed session will be at 5 p.m., open session 6:30. I'm going to call the meeting adjourned at 9:41.